Detroit media icon Ryan Ermanni, University of Michigan great Braylon Edwards, and of course, Maz are about to take over on Woodward Sports. Every day, 2 to 4 p.m., it's the best Detroit sports talk on Detroit's best sports network, Woodward Sports.
Hey, let's go! Thursday show, September 19th, 2024. Ermanni and Edwards with Maz, Woodward Sports Network, woodwardsports.com. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that like button, subscribe to Woodward Sports on YouTube. It's coming up on 70,000 subscribers on this platform. KG and Pete Spivak here as well. But first, Braylon Edwards, good afternoon to you, my friend.
Good afternoon to you as well. We're on a beautiful Thursday, close to the weekend, close to the Michigan USC game, but I'm here with the gang. The gang's all here.
That's right, Tom Mazaway. Good afternoon to you, friend.
What's up, brother? I'm disappointed. There's no Tiger game tonight.
I'm
watching the Twins and Indians right now. Twins and Guardians.
Yeah, and the Guardians are up 1-0 right now if you're watching live.
Early.
I will say I'm almost thankful that there is no Tigers game tonight.
It's a breather.
I can't take it anymore. I can't breathe. It's like this, whether they get in or not. And by the way, I do believe they are going to get in.
It's looking good now.
I do believe they're going to get in. I do believe they're going to finish this off and get in. However, even if they don't, this feels like playoff baseball as it is right now anyway. Every game they play is a playoff game.
Of course.
Don't you feel that?
Of course. You see me every night. I'm out of my mind. My stress ball hardly has anything left in it, and I'm just all over that damn thing. I'm a nervous wreck watching these games.
Maz has texted me last night. I can't breathe. And then I had to text him a couple of times. I'm like, dude, I'm watching the.
But then I wrote him. I'm like, I'm excited.
Right.
Oh my God! But it is. It's very reminiscent of what happened at the end of the Red Wings season. The Red Wings were fighting that race, fighting to get into the playoffs for the last 2 weeks of the season, and made it very exciting here. LCA was the most lit that it's ever been, and I think that's what you're starting to see. Whether Bally's and Diamond Sports messed up the deal or not, I think people in Detroit are starting to come around to the fact that, oh wait, we got another team that's heading for the playoffs. It's not the Detroit Lions, and like we said earlier, it couldn't have happened in a better week, seeming as though the Lions lost against Tampa.
If Cleveland loses today, they will be dead even. If Cleveland wins today and beats the Twins and Tigers will be dead even with 9 games to go. Yes, we know Minnesota has the tiebreaker. So does Kansas City. You're only 2 back of Kansas City and 4.5 back of the Orioles. You only got to catch one of those teams to get in. Seattle got swept by the Yankees, so thank you to the Yankees who clinched a wild card spot. They'll clinch the AL East here in a couple of days. But so the Tigers, at 9 games to go, all they got to do is finish 1 game better than either the Twins or Royals, and they're in the playoffs.
And those 9 games, 3 at Baltimore and then 6 at home, 3 against Tampa Bay and 3 against the White Sox. And by the way, Baltimore is also losing today 2-0 to San Francisco. They are in absolute free fall mode. Jim Leland always used to say, it's not who you play, it's when you play them. And they are catching the Orioles at a very good time. I'll say this about the Tigers as well. I was talking to a couple of colleagues at Fox 2 about this earlier that really haven't been paying attention too closely until now, and they're excited. But Braylon, this is one of those things in sports that you cannot explain. Let me put this the standings up for you. On August 22nd, after the Tigers lost to the Cubs, the Detroit Tigers were 9.5 games back of first place. We are not even to September 22nd yet. This is less than 1 month since that time. They were 9.5 games back. The Detroit Tigers have almost virtually pulled even in that time. Best record in baseball. They're a half a game out. And again, that half a game will be made up today. Minnesota is playing right now against the Cleveland Guardians. They're trailing 1-0 in the top of the 4th if you're watching live.
And the Orioles will have that half game. It'll be 4 games if they lose today. So you'll be even, 2 games behind the Royals and 4 games behind the Orioles going into the week.
I was going to say, sometimes magic just happens.
Yeah.
It's no way to really describe it. When I was playing for the Jets the first year I got there, they started off the season 3-0, and I got there and they lost their first game. I actually thought I was the bad luck charm, if you will, Tom Mazaway. But we went from 3-1 to 3-2, 3-3, 4-3, and it went back and forth. And then we got to a space where we had a couple rough bumps. Going into the last 3-4 weeks of the season, we didn't think we were a playoff team. And, we lose a game, we're out. Then we win a game, you got a chance. And team just starts to come together. Quarterback just starts playing a little bit better. The running back start blocking a little harder. The offensive linemen have a little more to play for. And I think that's what's happening on this team. This team senses that they're on the precipice of something special to make a playoff for the first time in a while. And I think everybody's giving all they have for this playoff race, kind of similar to what happened with me at the Jets.
Listen, they'll be on the road if they do make the playoffs, guys. So the first round, the wild card round, best of 3, they will be on the road. Those 3 games will be at the higher seeds park. So it could be any team ahead of them, even if it's the Twins, even if they're tied. It doesn't matter. They have to get into playoffs, and they will be on the road in the first round and probably most of the rest of the playoff run.
Mm-hmm. When Bobby Witt Jr. hit the grand slam in game 1 of this series, I turned it off and I was like, well, this was a nice run. If you would have told me when Bobby Witt Jr. hit that grand slam in the 3rd inning of the first of 3 against Kansas City, that we would be talking 3 days later about a Tigers sweep, I'd have told you were nuts. There are just some things in sports you cannot explain. What is happening with the Detroit Tigers right now is one of those things. When they traded away Jack Flaherty, their second best pitcher and a top 10 pitcher in baseball. Hell, don't forget about Andrew Chafin, who was probably at the time the most reliable reliever that they had at the major league level. They traded him away as well. If I would have told you that this was happening, you'd have told me I was crazy. You would have wanted to test me for drugs and everything else. But there are things that you just cannot explain. This is one of them. And I didn't want to put it on Javi Baez.
Yeah.
But if you put those standings back up, Pete.
Yes, sir.
There is a coincidental transaction that happened the night of August 22nd. Mm-hmm. That is...
Sounds like you're talking about the Kennedy assassination.
No. They told Javi Baez to go home.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
And look, is that a coincidence, Braylon? Or is that something tangible that you can point to and say, if you look at the dugout last night, did you see the dugout when Jace Young scored?
Yeah.
With
They
the
were on fire.
karate kick slide.
Yeah, that was crazy.
I've watched baseball a long time. I have seen a number of different slides. I have never seen a slide like that in my life. A karate kick slide almost.
Yeah.
That somehow got underneath the tag. And that dugout was going nuts. Is that on Javi Baez? I can't, my rational brain does not allow it to go there. That one player couldn't be that detrimental to this group. Could he have?
I won't say that it's fully on Javi Baez, but I think a large part of him leaving at that time, I think it set it in motion. Look, the energy was very negative when Javi Baez was on the team. Whether he was playing or whether he's not, the conversation was always how bad Javi Baez was. It wasn't how good these players, how the players are trying to find their rhythm. It wasn't about any of the young players. It was strictly about how bad this player was. Then you take him out of the lineup, you put him in the lineup. It doesn't matter what you do. The focal aiming point was on Javi Baez, and you got a lot of young guys that are trying to find their spot. They're trying to find their footing, and all they hear is about a guy that they probably believe is washed up as well. And then sometimes you get him to hit him home run. He has these antics. If I'm a young guy and I'm watching Javi Baez hit a home run and he hasn't hit one in 4 months, I'm looking like, who the F does this guy think he is? I think you get rid of him. I think you allow these young guys to now start gelling and these young guys to see that, you know what, this organization actually is serious about who we are. They brought us up. They brought us to the show. Now they're giving us a chance to show who we are. And I think you get a couple guys to be that way. You add some new blood and Matt Sweeney and a couple other players, and I think you're starting to get something to roll. Look, that Indians major league move, we talk about it all the freaking time on this show. Well, that did happen to the Indians. They are in the same division as the Tigers. Who says we can't have our major league movie this season? But I think getting rid of Javi Baez, he just clears some negative space, Ryan. Like, Ryan, there's 5 of us to do this show. We've all had a day where somebody has come in with the negative energy, and even though there might be there, it pulls you in a type of way, and maybe a little bit gets on you and a little bit gets on KG and Pete.
Bleeds in.
It bleeds in slowly and it seeps in. And I think that's what you saw. We've been talking about nothing but Javi Baez for the last 2.5 years. Now, all we're talking about is this young team, how hard they're fighting, and the good job that A.J. Hinch is doing the manager.
Hey, it started at the beginning of the year when Miguel Cabrera's contract came off the books. And we all thought, oh, wow, he can go out and spend $300 million now. They didn't. They brought in a couple of pieces, which they traded away. But here you are. And Javi Baez just plugging along as one of the worst everyday players in baseball history for the past 2 seasons. And
the numbers don't lie.
Bro,
That's not even an exaggeration.
Yeah.
It's numbers.
3 years of that.
This is not my opinion.
Yeah.
This is fact.
Yeah.
So they've carried him to a point where they finally said, okay, that's enough. We're going to trade for Trey Sweeney, and we're going to bring him up, and we're going to see what he's got. And the kid has been terrific. He's been great on the field, terrific with some home runs, and he slid in. I mean, the celebration that this Tiger team had last night, and the pictures are all over the internet. You see them. Young guys. It's the youngest team in Major League Baseball. They don't know what the hell they're doing. They don't. They're just playing hard every day. They don't have the most talent. They are for sure a lot less talent than Baltimore. All those big shots, all those top prospects playing for Baltimore. But we got Tarek Skubal, who I wanted them to trade. Now listen,
100%.
he is one of the best pitchers in baseball, hands down. And MLB Network and everybody else has now bought into him, bought into this team. It's so exciting to turn on MLB Network, and they're leading with the Detroit Tigers and a run for Shohei Ohtani to be the first player to have 50 home runs and 50 steals, which is going to happen any time now. But the Tigers are right where we've always wanted them to be. Just compete. That's all we wanted. And like Rye said, I've been saying for weeks, we're watching the playoffs right now. This team already has playoff experience. If they catch the Orioles by chance, that's when they could get a home playoff game. Just to let you know. Other than catching the Orioles.
In the first round.
On the first round.
Yeah.
They will be on the road in the best of 3 wild card round. And they're going to make it, guys. 9 games to go. Just win one more than either the Twins or the Royals, and you're in.
Can I advise the people a little bit, Brian Ermanni?
Please.
One of the big things that I said a couple weeks ago, and this isn't a told you so moment, it was just how I felt. I said, you know what, the Tigers can't disappoint me the rest of the season because I see how hard the young guys are playing. They're back into the swing of things. We never thought we would be here, even in a chance to potentially have a chance to make the playoffs. So I said nothing would disappoint me. I would urge all the Tigers fans out there, just enjoy this moment. Just enjoy what the young guys are doing. Just enjoy what the squad is doing. Don't think about next year. Don't think about the moves that, paying Tarek Skubal. What are we going to bring in? This is going to be a third or first baseman. You need both of them. Let's just worry about now. They got 9 games, and they might make the playoffs, and they've been playing. They're the best team in baseball over the past 2 months. Let's just enjoy the ride. Like, it's right in front of us here. Let's be present. I don't think we're ever present enough.
So OptaStats put this out earlier today. The Tigers were 55-63 at the end of play on August 10th. They're now 80-73. The only MLB team ever to make the playoffs in a non-shortened season after being 8+ games under 500 in August or later, the amazing Mets in 1973.
There you go, baby.
One team has made the playoffs coming back from where the Tigers have come back from this season.
You know what happened to that Met team?
They won the World Series.
They lost in Game
They
7
lost.
of the World
Oh, that's
Series.
right. Darn it.
Yep. They lost to the Oakland A's, who were the team of the 70s.
Reggie Jackson, 100%.
Yep.
They got there, though.
They made it to Game 7 of the World Series and could have won it. Willie Mays was on that team. That was his last game.
You know who's on the Mets team at that time, too? If I'm mistaken, Nolan Ryan.
No, he was gone.
He went to the Angels by then?
Yeah, he was gone.
He was on the Mets team when they won
In 69.
69, okay.
Yep.
I'm
He
trying
was
to
part of
know
the
something.
Amazins.
You know, a little
Those are the
something.
Amazins.
Yeah.
But the Mets made it with 80-some-odd wins that year. And what do the Tigers have right now? 80-some-odd
80.
wins.
Yeah.
They can go to 89 wins if they win all 9 games.
I forgot who posted this today. It was one of the baseball guys, but it was something along the lines of Trey Sweeney. He's not doing anything spectacular. Sure, he's had a lot of big moments, but he's just making every routine play.
Exactly.
He's a kid. He's got exuberance.
But yeah, he's just doing the routine things that Javi Baez wasn't even doing, and really, creating a hole in your lineup, a hole in your defense, and I just think what's going on now is pretty incredible, and I just hope that they can at least win the series against Baltimore. If they do that, maybe even if they just take one from the Orioles, the crowds at Comerica Park next week are going to be unlike anything we've seen in 10 years. Just
Get better.
Cannot wait.
I mean, the Rays are no easy out, guys. And then you got the White Sox going for history. They'll have history by then.
Now, I was going to agree with Ryan, but I think the city will show up. That's one thing about this city. When it's the team, when they're right there, team shows up. They give them that extra push, man. I keep pointing back to the Red Wings, because that was amazing to see. I haven't seen Detroit fans in that space for the Red Wings like that. So they'll show up when they need to. We just got to get there. The Tigers got to get them there.
No doubt.
How would you like to be Trey Sweeney? He never would have seen the light of day with the Dodgers.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And here he goes to a team on the rise, a team that's been a zero for 8 years. And here he is playing playoff baseball.
Isn't that something?
That's why this is all working, man.
Can you imagine, though, too, you're coming up through the Dodgers organization. You're a pretty high prospect. You've got Shohei Ohtani, L.A., all the glitz and glamour of the Dodgers organization. And then somebody tells you you're going to Detroit, and you're like, come on. No way.
Rats.
The team that had won in 10 years.
Yeah.
Team that had won a World Series in 40 years.
Yep.
That's not a trade that I would be happy about until you're happy about it, till you get there on the ground.
The New York Mets are red freaking hot as well. I'd pay for the Mets and Tigers World Series.
I feel like they got rid of some players, too. I feel like they moved some negative energy around their space as well. What was the guy that kept getting in trouble and got kicked out of the game? And They moved
that pitcher.
They moved some negative energy, and negative energy, man, it seeps into the locker room and takes a hold, because you're negative. You're going to have friends, and your friends are going to, tell you whatever you want to hear. Like, yeah, I know, man, coach sucks. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. Slowly but surely, it starts moving around. The Mets were one of the
Mets are funny. You remember when Max Scherzer got traded at midway through last year at the trade deadline?
And JV.
And JV. But JV was gone, and Max Scherzer was traded, and they said to him, or he asked the question, next year, are we going to go for it, or is it going to be a rebuilding year? And because Max Scherzer had to waive his no trade clause to be traded, because he was willing to stick out last year if the Mets were going to come back this year, spend some money, and compete for a World Series. And they told him, no, we're going to rebuild next year. And you wonder if they just said that to get rid of him and move on from the contract.
They paid him.
Oh.
They paid like 90% of that contract.
Oh, really? I did not know that.
Mm-hmm.
The owner of the Mets is one of the richest owners in all of sports.
Stephen Cohen.
Yeah.
Maybe they just wanted him gone.
They let him go because they were going to fold.
That's definitely true, because I look like Max Scherzer last year, Ryan, was the highest paid baseball player because of his rollover contract.
With 3 contracts.
The Nationals were paying him, the Mets paid him, and so did the Texas Rangers.
Nationals?
So he was the highest paid player in baseball last year.
Unbelievable.
He was making almost $100 million a year.
I think he was like $92 million is what he ended up making.
Incredible, man.
He's really done well for himself.
Yeah, no
Let's
doubt.
leave it here.
No doubt. That's right.
Amazing.
All right, guys. We'll get to some baseball stuff later in the show, but I want to get to the Lions now. Good news back at practice. Alex Anzalone and Graham Glasgow were back at practice. Those are two stalwarts. One of your defense, one of your offensive line. Got to get those guys back. Anzalone dealing with a concussion.
I don't think he could play, right? Legally, can he play because of the concussion?
I don't know that answer.
And did he practice? Today is Thursday.
Yeah.
So he didn't practice yesterday. I don't think he'll be able to practice. I think you have to get 3 practices.
Yeah, because Dan Campbell yesterday was talking about Jack Campbell and how he might come up and how he's going to step into his shoes.
Okay.
So I think you have to get Wednesday, Thursday, Friday in order. Once you get entered into concussion protocol, you have to get a 3-day week.
Oh, I got you. Okay, very good.
But it's good that he's back.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's a great sign. Glasgow back. Rakestraw, Ifatu Melifonwu, James Mitchell still out. Terry and Arnold out with an illness. I feel like everybody's sick these days, but nonetheless, it's a big game at Arizona.
I think that's something that we gloss over. Like, indulge me for a moment. You know, last year we talked about this offensive line. This offensive line was comparable to any offensive line that you want to say, whether it's the Eagles or the 49ers, maybe even better, doing certain things. Glasgow was on the right side of the offensive line last year. And you look at that. Panay was the right tackle. Glasgow was the right guard. Frank, and then obviously Jonah Jackson, who's now with the Rams, and then Tyler Decker. Only 2 slight moves. Zeitler's now there, and Glasgow moves over. But could that be a source of the struggles a little bit in the running game? Because you switch your offensive line a lot, and they still have a lot of those main ingredients, but you're looking at 2 new players, at least 2 different positions. Glasgow now on the left, Zeitler in year 13 on the right side. Could that be a source for why the running game, why it hasn't seemed to necessarily fit because of the offensive line?
Well, it absolutely could be. You know, everything runs through this offensive line, Bray, and it just looks, and again, you know, I hate to not be able to quantify it, but I just have not been able to put my finger really on why the Lions offense has just not looked in sync, other than, you know, I don't want to beat a dead horse here, but this lack of playing in the preseason thing really does bug me. And I do think it accounts for a reason why not only the Lions, but so many of these NFL teams are off to slow starts. I think that's a big deal. The reason why I didn't think it would affect the Detroit Lions so much is because they are one of the few teams in the NFL, less than a handful, that have the same head coach, the same offensive coordinator, the same defensive coordinator, the same quarterback, the same everything.
Yeah.
So I didn't feel like that would be something that would affect them, but clearly it is. And I think Ben Johnson is off to a slow start. Dan Campbell is off to a slow start.
Very slow.
Absolutely. And I think Jared Goff clearly is off to a slow start.
Big time.
You know, and I've mentioned this before, but I'll say it again. I do feel like the Detroit Lions offensively right now have so much talent, and they're trying to get everybody involved instead of just taking what the defense gives to you. You know, a lot of different places have this, but it's like a check your ego at the door kind of thing. I feel like since Dan Campbell has come on at the Detroit Lions, the culture has been, you know, kind of a Bo Schembechler, the team. And I feel like, I don't know, maybe that's going away a little bit with all these guys getting paid perhaps. And I don't know. I don't feel like they are allowing the offense to take advantage of matchups. I think they are force-feeding players right now. And I think when you force-feed players, you know, that could be good.
Yeah.
Obviously, if your team sucks, you want to get your playmakers the ball. But if your team has an embarrassment of riches like the Detroit Lions do right now, you want to keep everybody happy. And I think they're trying to keep everybody happy.
I've seen it before. I always talk about the comparisons of when I played with the Jets in 2010. Brian Schottenheimer, I always bring his name up. You know it's never good. But he was trying to make LaDainian Tomlinson happy. He was trying to make Santonio Holmes happy. He was trying to fit Braylon Edwards in there and get him some passes. He was trying to fit Sean Green in the running game, even though LT is the first ballot Hall of Famer. So it balances. A team only cares about winning. You know, and I think that's what I was able to sit back and take from it, you know, is watching how guys felt about it. LaDainian didn't care about getting the ball 25, 30 times. He cared about winning. You know, he had been on the other side in San Diego. And obviously, LaDainian's a lot older than this team. But I think this team get back to their winning ways. You know, once you start having some success, I think it cures it all. But I think they need to see some running. They need to have some competence when they run the ball. They need to feel good about smash mouth football again. The offensive line needs to feel good. Once the offensive line feels good, that's what drives this team. We've been talking about them so much over the past 4 years. Once they feel good, once they go, this team goes, this offense goes. So I would really want Ben Johnson, get the big uglies going often and early up front, man. You're going to need to control the clock anyway with Kyler Murray trying to run around. So Get the big uglies happy. Get them confident, man. Get Dave Montgomery running downhill.
Yep.
That's what's going to happen. That's what's going to spark the offense. The defense is already sparked.
No more 55 passing.
It's not who you are.
Not in a one-score game, that's
Right.
for sure.
There's no need for that. No need at all, unless you're chasing someone. And the Lions haven't chased anybody in a long time. Just do what you do. Remember that fourth quarter against the Rams. That's your offense. Remember that. Remember how you mixed it up. That's your offense. Not what I saw last Sunday. What I saw last Sunday was a completely discombobulated offense. Very poorly called game and an awfully coached game from Dan Campbell. He's got to go back to being him. Don't kick a field goal from the 3-yard line if you have a chance to score. Run the ball. Get it in there. You've got the best offensive line in football, one of the best. Use them. No more field goals from the 3, Dan. If you want to fake the field goal, want to fake a punt, I'm all for it. Keep doing what you're doing. And don't give up on a 58, 59-yard field goal. That's why you got Jake Bates. That's why you have him. You don't have Money Badger anymore. You got Bates. Kick the field goal from 58. Why not? All the other teams do. There's only one guy that's missed from 50. There's only
Everybody's
one
making
guy.
field goals right
And you know
now.
who missed it? It's Justin Tucker's the only guy that's
he's-
missed twice from 50.
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
Other than that, it's like Dallas kicker could kick from 70.
Yeah,
He hit a 66-yarder that they called back on a penalty. And they almost went for a 71-yarder. And the guy, Brandon Aubrey, can make it.
Yeah.
That's the sad thing. And all these kickers I'm talking about are from the USFL. The Lions just signed another UFL kicker
Really?
as their backup because Greg Joseph,
got
who
got
they
poached.
signed, went to the Giants.
Yep.
So they signed another UFL kicker. Those kids can kick, man.
What's starting to happen too with the kickers, and I was going to get to a point about the Lions and the cliche. Remind me about that point, the cliche of losing early and having this happen early. But Maz, it's kind of like Steph Curry. That's your favorite NBA player of all time,
Yep.
right?
Hands
It's your
down.
favorite guy. Back in the day, nobody was taking those threes from half court, so nobody knew that they could develop that skill. Nobody knew that they could be good at that. Now these kickers, they're fearless. These kickers are having fun doing those trick shots online. They're starting to kick the ball 50 yards in high school, and they're trying these long field goals. I think the same thing is happening in the NFL. These young kickers can kick that, and these these coaches, they don't mind them. In terms of the cliche, I'm glad this is happening early with the Lions.
Yes,
I'm
you're
glad
right about
this is
that.
happening
Better
early.
early
I'm
than
glad
late.
Ben
Yeah.
Johnson was trying to figure out how to use Jamison Williams, how to use Amon-Ra St. Brown, when to administer the run. It's happening early because I didn't think they were going 17-0, and neither did you guys. So you know what? They're 1-1. They've tried to see how things work, and they know what works for the Detroit Lions, and that's running the ball. So it happened early, and I'm happy.
All right, guys, we're going to take a break. Chris Myers has the call this week on Fox. We'll get to him next, but first, a message from Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac Buick GMC. What happens when you run a great business for over 50 years? You expand and offer more products to more people. That's exactly what Les Stanford did by adding Les Stanford Buick GMC. They offer the same great service that customers have come to know and trust. Located in Ferndale on Woodward Avenue, just south of 9 Mile. And if you're looking for a Chevy or a Cadillac, Les Stanford in Dearborn, where they have been on Michigan Avenue for over 55 years. You can find the brand you want, all GM brands under one umbrella. LesStanford.com, LesStanford.com. Together,
Let's drive.
And you may want to drive on over to the Best Lions pregame party on September 30th, and that's going to be at Detroit's very own Second Best Bar, located at 42 Watson Street for the ultimate fan experience. Enjoy some smooth Tullamore Dew Irish whiskey while catching the Woodward Sports Lions pregame show only at the Second Best Bar. Come get some.
Can't get enough Lions coverage? Make sure you catch all Woodward sports shows every game day. Wake up with Woodward and Maine, giving you the latest insight into the Lions locker room and press conferences. Then join the Lions pregame show, highlighting key matchups, injuries, and what to watch for during the game. Follow all the ups and downs of the live game action with our Woodward Watch Party live on YouTube and WoodwardSports.com. After the game, check out the instant fan and host reactions with the Lions postgame show. Every game, it's wall-to-wall, kneecap-biting, high-fiving, chest-pumping Lions coverage.
Hell yeah!
Only at Detroit's #1 sports network, Woodward Sports.
Woodward Sports, let's go!
Stop searching for a vehicle and start finding one. Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac makes it easy. We harness the power of multiple dealerships and own the biggest selection of GM brands in the area to get you the car you need. With the Les Stanford Group, you'll have access to 4 different dealerships, providing you with more makes, more models, and more choices. We're connected to more than 1,000 vehicles, and with so many high-quality CPO vehicles available, you'll find new car quality at pre-owned prices. You can start and end your search at lesstanford.com today.
A network for the city, by the city. Woodward Sports is Detroit sports.
Oh, let me just say, I love Planet Fitness.
Trying out Planet Fitness and dang, they got lots of equipment.
Not me getting a Planet Fitness membership just for the 24-hour perk.
Listen, the PF Black Card is worth every penny for this hydro massage. I'm a new man.
Did y'all know that the PF app has workouts you can do at home? Cheapest therapy I can find is Planet Fitness.
All the benefits, all for less. Planet Fitness, big fitness energy for all.
The most talked about Detroit media by other Detroit media. And we love it. It's the Woodward Sports Network.
Any Lady Jane's haircuts for men and claim your throne for a king's treatment from one of our talented stylists. Open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Just get to a Lady Jane's today and receive a precision haircut, scalp massage, hot lather neck shave, and a hot towel treatment. A haircut should not be a chore. It should be an experience. And that's exactly what Lady Jane's has to offer. Open 7 days a week. Walk-ins are always welcome. There's always a location near you. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, it's wicked awesome.
A ton of fun, a ton of sports, and a ton of man meat. Welcome to the Woodward Heavyweights, live daily 5 to 7 p.m. on Woodward Sports.
Hey, welcome back. Woodward Sports on YouTube. Ryan Ermanni, Braylon Edwards, Tom Mazaway. Lions and Cardinals from the desert this week. Man, that's going to be calling the action for you. NFL on Fox. The great Chris Myers. Chris, how you doing, my friend?
What's up, Chris?
Hey, it's good to talk to you guys. Good to be on with you. Always fun to do a Lions game. I was there in the meek weak years, so it's good to be with the Lions when they're riding high, even after a disturbing loss.
No doubt about it. Chris, when you put the tape on and watch these guys and do your prep, what do you see?
Well, I saw what they did against the Rams when they got in the red zone, and the Rams couldn't score when they got in the red zone. It was kind of the flip against the Bucs, which you don't expect when the Lions are at home. But off of what I saw last year and what I've seen being built through this team through the years, I mean, it's a Super Bowl contender. I'm not concerned at all about. I mean, Tampa Bay's a very good football team. They're better than I think people realize, and it's not an excuse. I mean, that's a game the Lions probably should have won. But I'm not concerned in the long haul of the season. You know, maybe it's a different type of approach from Dan Campbell. But no, I see an elite. And by the way, I'm sure you guys have covered this, but you know, the Cowboys, the Eagles, the 49ers, the elite teams in the NFC all lost in week 2. So it's a crazy go nuts year to start. The Lions I see as the more steady team because of the way that they play. And if the defense improves, they've made the moves to do that. They were my pick to go to the Super Bowl, like quite a few other people that watch this closely.
Chris, you've covered this league for a long time, and you mentioned all those teams that are off to rough starts. We talk a lot about why. Why are these teams off to such slow starts? I think it's all-time low for points and touchdowns and everything else. These offenses are just slow to develop here. Is that due to this new preseason where nobody plays at all?
I think that's part of it, yes. And a lot of the coaches you talk to, quietly, privately say, yes, scrimmages are one thing. We get a lot of work. And they risk the injury. You can get hurt during practice. But, if you don't play in anything we do, you need a rhythm in calling football games and doing radio shows. If you do it once in a while, you don't have the same, especially working with other people. I remember there's 10 other guys out there aside from you on a football team along with coaching staffs. I think that's definitely a part of it. I think teams, we go through cycles. So coaching staffs, they come up with ways to kind of throw people off when they've seen somebody, as the Buccaneers have, very familiar with Detroit. And so even if you do something really well, sometimes teams find a way to stop that. And I just had a coach, I think it was one of the coaches in the Washington Giants game I just called last week, said, we sat in for the meetings. He said, we're still figuring out our team, even though we thought we had it figured out, and we're not even 2 games in. There's some people in places, and we're not talking about injuries. That's a different kind of adjustment. But yes, I think after the first 4 games, you should have it figured out. I would rather the preseason games get the starters out there and get them in a rhythm, though, it's become a trend. I'm not a fan of it, but I'm not a player. But yes, I think that's one of the reasons that we have sloppy play. And I think it affects the offense and that continuity, that synchronism more than the defense.
Chris, always good to have you on the show. I want to talk about the other team playing in this, and that is the Arizona Cardinals. A lot made of Kyler Murray before he came back. Was he going to be the guy? Is he still the guy? Do they have faith in him? Well, it looks like he's come back with a chip on his shoulder, decides to go to Nugget, and he has a new flashy toy in Marvin Harrison Jr. Just talk about Kyler Murray and what you've seen out of him the first 2 games, because it seems like he's a guy that really wants to be back in that spot. He did get to the playoffs a couple years ago.
Yeah, he did, and he's been hurt a lot, being 5'10" and really just under that. That's part of the price he pays for being that size and still scrambling and running around. I'll tell you, though, he's healthier than he's been in a long time. I've called his game since he was a rookie. I think he's a little more confident in the meetings. Last year he came back late after missing 6, 7, 8 games, and then they had some upsets. They played a little strong towards the end of the year, and essentially, this isn't your same old Cardinals, even though it is Kyler Murray, James Conner, and you mentioned Marvin Harrison Jr., who they added, but they're both, to have James Conner and Kyler Murray healthy at the same time, and having been in this system with Jonathan Gannon and their offensive approach, which is really a run first. They remind me a little bit in terms of the transition of the Lions in those years, using 3 tight end. They're forcing some creative run game approaches to make it so that Kyler Murray can do the things that he's doing, and throwing on the run, moving on the run, which was interesting. I saw that his jersey's going to the Hall of Fame. He's only the 2nd quarterback, and Kenny Anderson of the Bengals was the first to pass for 250 and run for more than 50 in the same game, which I thought was a stat that others could have pulled off. But anyway, that's what he's capable of. That's what he's at his best, and he is in a better frame of mind. I think he's much more relaxed because he is healthy and feels comfortable with the new coaching leadership. So yeah, their offense is for real. They have a lot of Greg Dortch, slot receivers, kind of a trouble spot, who's been there a while and emerged as well. So they have a lot of different weapons. But Murray is the key, staying healthy.
Yeah, you talk about keeping him comfortable, and one of those things is James Conner, man. You talk about that run game. James Conner is a guy, Pro Bowl type guy out of the Steelers. He runs hard, and just watching him, I think that's what they're using to kind of help Kyler Murray a little bit.
Yeah, and where Kyler Murray is kind of soft-spoken in the huddle and even in practice, watch doesn't say a whole lot. Connor does that kind of stuff. Connor's there. He's really the trusted leader in the locker room, and that's why having him healthy and out there, and he'll carry the ball all day and run it hard and set a tone. But they really are a run-first offense, which Marvin Harrison Jr. will have to be a little bit patient with. But certainly Kyler Murray is an option to run or at least create things with Connor. It's a great combo. And I was going to look at just going over some of their other offensive talent. I mean, their offensive line was a problem in the past. They've strengthened that just a little bit. And I just think they're deeper than they have been offensively. Michael Wilson, 2 second-year receivers, emerged for them as a little bit of a backup. And their young tight end, Trey McBride, is probably their best receiving threat. He's a guy who's ready to blossom as well.
Hey, Chris, Tom Mazaway here. Thanks again for joining us. We always enjoy talking with you. I know you've watched the Lions over the years, and I know you saw Sam Laporta and the way he blossomed last year into becoming one of the best tight ends in football. And for them to not use him the first 2 weeks, very rarely did they even go to him. Was it more the Rams and the Tampa Bay Bucs defense taking him out, or do you think Ben Johnson is looking to get Jamison Williams more involved or other guys in this team? What do you think of Sam Laporta going forward?
Yeah, no, and by the way, great draft pick by Brad Holmes, because all of a sudden you hear other teams after. You can always tell, oh yeah, we wanted him. Well, he emerged. I don't think Ben Johnson is worried about sharing the ball, especially when you get in the red zone. And we'll talk to him this weekend when the team gets to Arizona and we're out there. But I do think I have noticed that off of what he did last year, defenses are playing him a little bit differently, specifically the matchups, even though I know Tampa Bay had some injuries in their secondary just going to the last game. But I am surprised that he hasn't had more targets there, and I wonder if that's a little bit of Jared Goff. And I'm a big Goff fan from the early days, and I always will be, but I'm a little frustrated with him. I'm sure he's frustrated with himself. I think that he's just got to play better. Some of those turnovers in certain situations, and I bring that up because I think it relates to Sam Laporta. So I think, and his injury in the preseason, they were just bringing him along slowly. I think there was more that, and I know Coach Dan Campbell's talked about that. They'll go to him more, and I think especially in the red zone, and again, depending upon how defense is playing, but especially in this game, I expect him to be targeted much more often.
Yeah, I know you're a big Dan Campbell fan. We all are. But last week he took it and said, "Listen, I blew that game," and he coached his worst game as a Lions head coach last weekend, even going for a field goal from their 3-yard line, which is un-Dan Campbell-like. Then he faked the punt from his own 20. So I don't know what the heck he was doing, but what are your thoughts on Dan Campbell? You think that Applebee commercial maybe got to his head a little?
Yeah, maybe he was reading off the Applebee menu instead of the play sheet.
You're not kidding.
Ben said, no, I'm a fan of him. And I look, we don't want him to change because the kind of guy he is, but I think he does have to adjust. And I think the team, I know you don't like hearing it when a guy admits it, and he cost him, but I'm with you. Even going back to the championship game last year, I thought they should have beat the 49ers. And I don't know some of those decisions. And he processes them all. We always talk to him about analytics. He goes with his gut, his heart. He believes in his team. Maybe how he's gathering that information or who he's leaning on there before he makes his ultimate decision. I don't know. It's something I'll ask him about. He's pretty candid about that stuff, and he doesn't take offense to things. But yeah, it's very, you think you know the guy, and maybe that's it. He wants to keep teams guessing that are going up against him. You never want to be so obvious, and he certainly is not that. But my goodness, you don't need to be the analytics guy to measure the risk reward, in a certain situation. And it almost, and I've noticed this, it almost fires up the other team that to a point, especially if it doesn't work, that he disrespects us enough that he's going to he's going to fake a punt back here, like we can't get in the end zone and score or whatever. So I don't know what to tell you about him, except that I think the good news is he admits to it. He says, we'll get better. He'll get better. I really believe that as a head coach, knowing his team, and he knows his team better than anybody. I think he just has to make the right call in the right spot. I mean, that's what I would say. I'd be interested to hear him if we had a lot of time to talk to him about, and I'm sure he could give us a good explanation as to why he made some of those decisions. Mm-hmm. But I think sometimes he doesn't have to be Dan the Gamble Campbell. I think he sometimes has to say, but again, the opposite is kicking that field goal like you talked about. So that's what makes it difficult to figure out. But as long as his team believes in him and responds, and again, guys make some plays here or there, then they're 2-0. I mean, we're acting like this is the Ravens at 0-2. I wonder what they're discussing right now. So so that's why I'm not concerned at all. And if we go another week, and this is going to be a tough test. It's like a Tampa Bay test a little bit in terms of they're under the radar, but the Cardinals are definitely a better team than they were last year. They could be that first team like the Texans did last year. They really have that capability because they have a star healthy quarterback. But Dan has to make better decisions. I think he knows it based on the game and the flow of the game and his players that are out there.
Talking to Chris Myers. Chris, just one of the best sportscasters out there for decades. Hands down. Chris, you do it all. I mean, you've done baseball, you do football, you do NASCAR, you do it all. And I want to ask you about your book. That deserves a wow.
That's a wow.
So tell me about the book. You're an author. And tell me, is that the Bill Murray who wrote the foreword? Like the Bill Murray? And how did that work out?
Yes, it is the Bill Murray. I met him back at the ESPYs in the 90s. We've become close friends. Our families have hung out in good times and some bad. There's been some rough spots. He's a as you know, a big Cubs and Bears fan, but he also just a good sports fan who has suggestions and observations that often has helped me in calling games and situations. And so, he's as you can imagine, talk about unpredictability with Dan Campbell. I mean, that Bill Murray is that way. So we've had some situations out in public. You've read a lot, heard a lot of things. I've golfed with him, but the book, HarperCollins, and it's available. You can actually go to Barnes and Noble or Amazon. You can pre-order it now. That deserves a wow. And wow, we have a lot of wow moments in sports, right? And picture yourself in the sideline of a Super Bowl or at a World Series, or in the middle of interviewing OJ, the first live interview of OJ Simpson after both of the trials. So there was some weird thing. They approached me. They said, "You're in a lot of unusual spots, the Brady comeback at the Super Bowl. So we'd like you to talk about that, and also why you've interviewed everybody from Ali to Tyson. Tyson almost beat me up one day. Mark Gastineau locked himself in his room after an interview. So we need these stories to come out. Bill Murray helped with some fun stories with Charles Barkley and Bill Murray, Stephen King at a World Series. So and it's kind of a fun sports book, but there's also, it's a little beyond sports with some of the things that I've experienced through my eyes. It's kind of like, and you guys are movie buffs, if you took the movie Almost Famous, right, which is about music and that young reporter covering the rock band, and then you took Forrest Gump and you put it in kind of a sports mode.
Okay.
It's a little bit like that, and through my eyes and some of my personal why I became the sports fan and broadcaster that I became, because of my experiences in life, not being a great athlete, coming from a big family, all that kind of stuff. So anyway, I think it's an inspiration too for a lot of people. But if you're a sports fan, you'll love it. And thank you for bringing it up. It was something I really never thought of myself.
I already got your second book for you. You're not good. Some of those catchphrases, we talk about how those came about, because I had a decade at ESPN, and then I went to Fox for 20 years. So those things, there's some of that in there. Great experiences with both networks, growing sports networks at the time. So if you get a chance, read it. Let me know what you think. I'd be curious.
It is interesting, too, because you were really one of the first guys to leave ESPN and go to Fox. And now, I mean, hell, it feels like everybody's leaving ESPN and going all over the place. But you you led the charge.
Yeah, because Aaron Andrews, Colin Cowherd, and all different. Other guy, play-by-play guys.
Tom Rinaldi.
Yeah, that's right. And those are people over the year. It's funny because Fox Sports, remember, was just Fox Sport. It was the NFL. And then when they got baseball and NASCAR, that's when I slid over. And I was happy at ESPN. But just it was an opportunity to kind of do more things. And I was there really what I call the golden years, when ESPN was the only thing, the only 24-hour sports channel through the 90s, right, and into 2000. And then Fox has kind of established itself. So, it's an interest. Sportscasting business is interesting. It's evolved and changed a lot. But doing the Up Close show when I took over after Roy Firestone gave me an opportunity to spend more time with some athletes, ex-athletes, and hang out with them a little bit more. And that's kind of what the book is. When I thought about it, when they brought this up about being at certain events, but then also the range of people through the years, interviewing from a Jim Brown to a Barry Sanders, Walter Payton to, from a Bobby Bonds to a Barry Bonds to when you think back on it, I just was so busy working, and I had to go back, and during the pandemic started putting notes together, and then finally compiled this. So we left a lot out of the book because we didn't want to make it so many pages it would be like homework. But it's been a crazy, and sports broadcasting is better than it's ever been in terms of the opportunities, streaming games and having all kinds of like this shows like this where you can spend time talking about things.
Hey, Chris, last thing, you got to say hi to our good friend Stink for us. Mark Schlereth, your partner now at Fox. Make sure you tell him the boys from Detroit, give him the best.
I will. He's great to work. I've worked with him before. I've had some great analysts through the years, from Daryl Johnston and Ronnie Barber, and he's got his morning show on FS1 now, and he's still doing his radio. But I will. I have trouble calling him Stink. It just sounds offensive. So,
I agree. I agree, Chris. Every time he says it, I'm confused.
He's offended if I call him Mark. He's like,
exactly.
So I'll tell him I talked to you guys.
Please do.
And always enjoy being on with you.
Thanks, Chris.
Chris, thanks so much for the time, my friend. You're one of the classiest, most versatile sportscasters out there. Thanks so much, my friend. We appreciate it. And get the book.
Tom. Thank you.
Thanks, buddy.
You get it. Chris
Get us
Myers,
a win, please.
That deserves a wow. But you can pre-order it right now on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, anywhere books are sold. Let's go out there and buy a book. Hey, it makes for a great holiday gift.
Absolutely,
Comes out in November. And that would absolutely be a great holiday gift for the sports fan in your family.
He's lucky for us usually, too. Lions usually win for him.
Absolutely.
He's a Bucks fan, so he's excited. He was excited to do the show. You saw his Bucks flying in the back. What's that Pirate's name, man?
There's so many guys. There's so many guys pigeonholed into like sports. This guy does it all.
No,
Chris Myers does everything.
He's a NASCAR savant, by the way.
I like, he pulled me into NASCAR a little bit just because over the years, I like the broadcasters. I like the, it's like for me, like I'll watch a game if I like the broadcast.
I watch Joe Tessitore. I might even watch wrestling.
You watch Raw.
Yeah,
he's good on Raw too.
He's
good. Was my guy.
But when Chris Myers went to Fox, he pulled. I didn't care about NASCAR, but he pulled me into NASCAR. Now I'm like Ryan Blaney's biggest fan.
Are you in a pool, by the way, for NASCAR?
No.
Oh, my friends are all over that.
Really?
Oh, yeah. They pick a driver every week.
I didn't even know there was one.
Hell yeah.
Wild.
Hell yeah.
Man,
there's
wild
fantasy
times.
too. Yeah, there's fantasy too.
There's fantasy everything nowadays.
By the way, Minnesota has pulled in front of Cleveland 2-1 in the 6th inning if you're watching live.
Baltimore as well.
Baltimore has pulled ahead of San Francisco 3-2. But isn't this part of it fun, though, too? I mean, you're sitting here scoreboard watching all that stuff. Back to what Chris Myers said about the lines a little bit. He had mentioned Sam Laporta. You had mentioned Sam Laporta. Here's what Laporta had to say about his slow start because, he was active in the first game, had 4 catches, 5 targets. Last week, though, 2 catches, 13 yards on 3 targets. No bueno. Here's what Laporta had to say.
I mean, specifically for me, there's weapons everywhere. You see J-Mo the last couple weeks have huge games. You see 14 last week with a bunch of catches, over 100 yards. So there's guys everywhere. The defense really has to keep their eyes on a multitude of guys out there. So if they're game planning for me and it opens up other guys, that's great. If not, I'm going to try to do my best to get open and create some explosive plays for the offense.
On the bright side, Joe, what does that show about this offense as a whole, just with so many different weapons? How do you continue to stay confident in yourself, knowing that any week could be your week?
I try to add as much value as I can for this offense, for this organization. I say that frequently, mostly because the tight end position gets asked to do a bunch of different things within the offense. So if targets come my way, that's great. If not, it's all good.
The good thing about Sam Laporta is that he played at Iowa. Iowa's not used to scoring points, and there would be games, there would be stretches where he didn't see the ball. Now, that's not a backhanded compliment. That's just the truth. He's used to, hey, when the ball comes my way, I'm going to make a play. So the fact that he has that in him, he's going to be a damn good player. He's not worried about the ball lapses or him not getting the passes or who's getting the ball. So that'd be fine for Sam Laporta. But we do have to get him involved. The Lions had their most success when Sam Laporta was being involved in the game, and it stems from the running game. Ryan, they haven't been able to get the running game attached, so now what they're doing, as opposed to being able to split Sam Laporta out, he gets a one-on-one matchup with the safety, and he killed the safeties and linebackers last year. Now they're bringing him in to chip the extra the defensive line, chip so you get a little bit extra pressure when you're trying to run the ball up the middle. So they're bringing him in and using him in the running game. You want to get him out in the pass game, so you got to get the game established because when he lines up as a wide receiver, safeties, DBs, they know they can put a bracket coverage over him. They got to make it disguisable.
I know it's, obviously win the game. That's first and foremost what you got to do. I would love to see them go into Arizona and play a clean, crisp game. I mean, who doesn't want that? I understand that. Maybe that's, I don't want you to peak too early, but just for my own sort of feeling about this football team and where they're going this year, I'd like to see them play a crisp game against a team that's not expected to be in the playoffs, although I said they would be in the hunt.
Yes, that's a fact. They're way better than they were in the past couple of years. They literally tanked the last 2 years to get good draft picks, and they took offensive linemen where they had to, and they took the best receiver in the game, and Malik Neighbors and Marvin Harrison. It's like a 2-horse race, affirmed against Aladar. Pick the one that you want. Mm-hmm. Both are excellent. And Kyler Murray having a rebirth under Jonathan Gannon, who was giving him the confidence that he lacked from the coaches prior to him. Yeah. That's all it took. That's all it took, because you saw the talent Kyler Murray had, and then all of a sudden he fell off a cliff, and then he got hurt, and he had to get back. So he's feeling good now. He's dangerous, man.
You know what it feels like? It feels very similar to Baker Mayfield, and I'll stop there. The shorter quarterback, because it seems like they come into the NFL, they do their thing in college. There's really no questions until around draft time. Is this guy too short? They take the chance to draft him. They have a little early success, and they have some bumps in the road, and then it always comes back down. This guy's too short. This guy can't see that. This guy – it seems like the same exact conversation we had about Baker Mayfield. Here Baker Mayfield is rejuvenated. Won against the Lions this week. Got his team to the playoff last year. I think that's what you're seeing with Kyler Murray. It took a coach in Todd Bowles to tell Baker Mayfield, hey, man, I just need you to be Baker Mayfield. We got trust in you. We got team here. We got some players for you. And I think that's what you're seeing out of Gannon. This team loves Gannon. We saw how hard they played early on in the season. I don't just bring it up. They beat the hell out of the Cowboys last year when we thought the Cowboys were a good team. They were the team to get the Cowboys back on track, if I'm not mistaken. Then they got injuries. So they played for this coach. And now you have Kyler, who's maybe not trying to go out there and every play he's trying to get 150 yards rushing. He's trying to get the deep pass. He's trying to get the big ball. Kyler Murray's just saying, hey, look, if it's there, I can take it. Each game he's had over 50 yards rushing, but if it's not, I have wide receivers, I have weapons, whether it's Trey McBride or whether it's Marvin Harrison Jr. Seems like he's just letting it come to him, but that stems from Gannon. Just giving him that confidence. We don't need you to be anything other than Kyler Murray, the same guy we drafted.
You know who really likes Jonathan Gannon? The guy that plays for the Philadelphia Eagles, Jalen Hurts, who has not been the same since Jonathan Gannon left that place. Think about that.
He created what he created Jalen Hurts.
I think they're 3-10 in their last 13
they're
games.
They're horrible.
Remember what they said? What changed in that year that they got to the playoffs? What changed from the year they got to the playoffs to getting to the Super Bowl? Because remember, they made the playoffs the year before.
Yeah.
He said, we just had to stop talking about what Jalen Hurts wasn't. And that's what Gannon said. He said, look, we had to stop talking about what he wasn't. What is he? How can we win? What things got us to draft him in the second round? Let's make those things work. And that's what they're saying with Kyler Murray. Hey, we're not talking about what Kyler Murray isn't. We know he isn't tall.
We know he can't see over that guy.
We know these things. But how can we have some success? Jonathan Gannon did that with Jalen Hurts. You're absolutely correct.
Goes to show you, too, his buddy Shane Steichen might call him up for a little bit of advice to see how to deal with Anthony Richardson, too.
Yeah, 2 tough games for the Colts.
You know?
I love the Colts this week, though.
Really, do you?
I do.
Something about them that's just not great to me, but nonetheless, interesting to see, what situations mean for different players. We talked ad nauseum this week, too, about, Bryce Young. Did you hear?
Poor kid.
Did you hear Mel Kiper lose his mind?
Yeah.
Do we have that?
We do.
Yes.
Let's get that. Mel Kiper lost his mind.
Hang on.
About how
this is not.
This is not on Bryce Young. Bryce Young is a good player, but Bryce Young has been. It's a travesty what the Carolina Panthers are doing with Bryce Young. Here's Mel Kiper.
I think it's mishandled is the word, because when you drafted Bryce Young, knew he was an outlier. Russell Wilson was bigger, right, taller, but only 5'10" and 3/4. That opened it up for the 5'10" quarterback. But Russell Wilson was 205, 208 coming out, not 180. Okay, Kyler Murray, because of Russell Wilson, became the #1 pick overall. Different body type than Bryce Young. So you knew Bryce Young, not only short but small, diminutive quarterback, needed help, right? Also continuity. You draft a quarterback. Everybody said he's got this great infrastructure in Carolina around him, right? With the head coach, the coordinator, the quarterback coach, everything's there, the senior assistant, everything's in place. And then you see him beat C.J. Stroud on the field as a rookie, right? If you take out the 3 games he threw multiple interceptions, he was 5 touchdowns, 6 touchdowns, 3 picks, okay? Had some decent games last year, okay? But then you go into this year, you change everything because C.J. Stroud's doing so well in Houston. We got to destroy this thing. We got to blow it up and start over because, C.J. Stroud's doing so great in Houston. These coaches aren't getting it done. So we bring in an offensive coach who was with Baker and others, right? Bring in a new pass game coordinator, new quarterback coach for Bryce Young. Then we don't play him in the preseason. We play him 1 series in the final preseason game against the AOGs. None of those guys are playing for Buffalo, by the way. They went 1 series down the field. And they're rah-rah, great, we got it. We accomplished everything we wanted to. I'll give you a little note. C.J. Stroud played in 2 preseason games this year. Okay, he played 4. Derek Carr played in 2 preseason games. Why? Because Clint Kubiak was coming in with a new offense, and Derek Carr is a veteran, played in 2 preseason games. Bryce Young played 1 series of a final preseason game against the nobodies on defense for the Buffalo Bills. Does that make sense to you? When in 2 games in, we're saying he can't play? Yes, his confidence was shattered, right? Yes, he does need to sit behind Andy Dalton for a little bit. But to blame this on Bryce Young is ridiculous. The blame here goes to the organization, the owner, for a mishandling.
How about Mel Kiper talking about preseason as well? You have a new staff, a new coaching staff, and essentially a rookie quarterback, and you are not playing in the preseason. Dumb.
1 series. 1 series for a brand new coaching staff and a team that's not expected to do much. But there were a lot of people that thought Carolina was going to be a lot better than they've been.
Yeah, you don't need to see anymore.
That's enough.
Yeah.
You know what? Let's bring Andy Dalton in. What? Why are you starting
Crazy,
Andy
man.
Dalton? You're not going to make the playoffs, Carolina.
Crazy.
What are you doing? If you had another rookie quarterback maybe to put in, then I'd say, okay, let's try him out. You already know what the Red Rifle's giving you, and it ain't much. He might win a game or two for you, but what good is it? Poor Bryce Young has got no shot in hell.
Not there.
Nope.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think what they're banking on at this point is they're banking on trade material. Like I think they're going to cut ties with Bryce Young, and it sucks. Like I told you guys all last season how I felt about Bryce Young. The C.J. Stroud and Black. Bryce Young is a guy that can play. Like Bryce Young is a guy that can play. We saw it in college. We know what this guy can do. The fact that you would draft him, just like you said, and not put things around him or put pieces in place. Like if you knew you weren't going to use him that way, then don't draft him. He's a guy that you got to draft, and you got to put the right things around him for him to have success. So mishandled is an understatement.
They shouldn't have started him last year then. Let Andy Dalton teach him at least. And then bring him in.
But now here we are. Now you need to trade him because there are some people that still see what Bryce Young is. There are some people that probably still could move some things, put him in a backup situation, if you will. But if you get him hurt, if you get him injured, if you show more of him,
Dolphins will be a nice spot for him.
So I
Tua
think at this
retires.
point, they put him on the bench so he doesn't get hurt.
Jets
so
will be a nice spot for him.
Remember
Take
what
over for Andy.
Remember what we talked about too about Ben Johnson?
Oh, yeah.
It was
Arizona.
it was a surprise that he came back to be the offensive coordinator of the Detroit Lions. You think he's happy about that decision right now?
Hell yeah.
He wasn't going there regardless.
Oh, yeah.
Well, but that's why.
Yeah.
Dave Canales made a choice to become a head coach, and it's going to be a short choice.
And Dave Canales should have done what Ben Johnson did.
Yep.
Yeah.
That organization is
it's abysmal.
Is a
dumpster fire.
Big hole.
David Tepper is a bum for an owner.
Crazy.
But I think too, it's a question that you always bring up, Ryan. And I'm playing devil's advocate. What do you always say? There's only 32 of these.
No doubt.
There's only 32. I know Dave Canales. He was the assistant wide receiver coach when I was with the Seattle Seahawks. I was surprised to see that he was offensive coordinator when I went to the Jets-Bucks scrimmage last season during training camp. But he was with a good squad. He was with a good situation. But they said, hey, look, here's an opportunity to coach a team. He looked down there. He saw a quarterback that he probably saw in college that he liked a lot, and Bryce Young, and said, hey, maybe, no doubt, can make something happen. It just wasn't the case. It just wasn't the case. It's also Ben Johnson having Dan Campbell to talk to. Ben Johnson having his his coaching staff. Hey, man, what do you guys think, man? What's up, blah, blah, blah. Who the hell was Dave Canales bouncing his ideas off?
Right. Right?
Yeah.
By the way, Guardians have the bases loaded. 1 out in the 6th.
It's on Cleveland's end. All right, guys, going to take a break. It is a Top 10 Thursday. Top 10 Thursday. We're going to do that next. We'll do that next. But first, a message from KDK Law. Dealing with divorce, child custody visitation, or other family law issues, Kevin and Catherine at KDK Law in Birmingham will have your back. 10-plus years of experience, 24/7 availability. Scan the QR code on your screen right now or call 248-971-0476. 248-971-0476. Maybe you don't need that number today, but a good idea to keep it in the future. Say Woodward Sports sent you, and KDK will pay your filing fee. KDK Law, they've got your back.
And fuel your Lions fandom with the perfect cup and become a subscriber of Sabbath Coffee Roasters. Whether you're gearing up for the big game or savoring a quiet morning, Sabbath Coffee Roasters has you covered with fresh, locally specialty coffee delivered right to your door. Head to www.sabbathcoffeeroasters.com and choose your favorite roast. Use code word Woodward to get 25% off your first subscription order. Awake and unwind. Support local and enjoy game day right with Sabbath Coffee Roasters, Maz.
All right, let's get you going here. It is Dr. Pierce. He'll join us tomorrow. Usually joins us today, but we're going to have Dr. Pierce in studio tomorrow. He's our guy, our sports injury expert, and with Michigan Sports and Spine. Join him every Tuesday with Big D Energy. Joins us on Thursday. Like I said, he'll be here tomorrow. Dr. Jeff Pierce of the Michigan Sports and Spine. Get with him right now, 248-426-9944, and get online at MichiganSportsandSpine.com and tell him Matt sent you. Also,
and
Matt, Pete.
Right now, more than ever, it's critical for you to have your insurance reviewed, and Swiss Insurance will make sure that your carrier is not slipping in those extra fees. Call Mark at Swiss Insurance today, 313-530-1698, or head to SwissINS.com. We're coming right back.
Can't get enough Lions coverage? Make sure you catch all Woodward sports shows every game day. Wake up with Woodward and Maine, giving you the latest insight into the Lions locker room and press conferences. Then join the Lions pregame show, highlighting key matchups, injuries, and what to watch for during the game. Follow all the ups and downs of the live game action with our Woodward Watch Party live on YouTube and WoodwardSports.com. After the game, check out the instant fan and host reactions with the Lions postgame show. Every game, it's wall-to-wall, kneecap-biting, high-fiving, chest-pumping Lions coverage.
Hell yeah!
Only at Detroit's #1 sports network, Woodward Sports.
Woodward Sports, let's go.
Braylon Edwards here, Premier Pet Supply. Man, just looking around, who's got it better than pets? Come on, a baby stroller for Coda? A chef for Lola? Really? You don't have to tell me who the real boss here is. Who's got it better than pets? Nobody, especially here at Premier Pet Supply. For over 30 years and more than 13 locations, Premier Pet Supply has everything that your pet can dream of, and guess what? It's all under one roof. Premier Pet Supply, family owned, operated, and proud to call Metro Detroit home. Check out PremierPetSupply.com or scan the QR code today. Who's got it better than pets?
Nobody!
A network for the city, by the city. Woodward Sports is Detroit sports.
Oh, let me just say, I love Planet Fitness.
Trying out Planet Fitness, and dang, they got lots of equipment.
Not me getting a Planet Fitness membership just for the 24-hour perk.
Listen, the PF Black Card is worth every penny for this hydro massage. I'm a new man.
Did y'all know that the PF app has workouts you can do at home? Cheapest therapy I can find is Planet Fitness.
All the benefits, all for less. Planet Fitness, big fitness energy for all.
The most talked about Detroit media by other Detroit media, and we love it. It's the Woodward Sports Network.
To any Lady Jane's haircuts for men and claim your throne for a king's treatment from one of our talented stylists. Open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Just get to a Lady Jane's today and receive a precision haircut, scalp massage, hot lather neck shave, and a hot towel treatment. A haircut should not be a chore. It should be an experience. And that's exactly what Lady Jane's has to offer. Open 7 days a week. Walk-ins are always welcome. There's always a location near you. Lady Jane's haircuts for men. It's wicked awesome.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at WoodwardSports.com. Just click on Shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
Hey guys, dreaming of a new home but feeling in a financial pinch? Mark White and Associates, your trusted real estate experts, are here to help. Mark White and his team will pay up to $5,000 of your closing costs. $5,000. That's not chump change. Call Mark White and Associates today, 248-290-8242. Visit them online as well, markwhitesells.com. Again, call Mark White and Associates today, 248-290-8242 to make your dreams come true.
And don't forget about Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Awesome is when a guy can be a guy and get an amazing haircut. That's Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Walk in, stop by, sit back, relax. Let one of Lady Jane's talented stylists make you look and feel great. You could walk in anytime, 7 daay a week. Lady Jane's, it's wicked awesome.
Watching Hutch do his thing right now, and could you see this coming in training camp at all?
I haven't been able to watch our side, the other side of the ball as much. I've seen it enough in training camp and OTAs, and it doesn't surprise me. He's a hard worker, and even in walkthroughs he's going. So he's put the time and effort into it, and you've seen his growth each year. that I've been here with him and he's been here, he's definitely progressing right. And he just works hard. Our guys know it's a handful to block him, all training camp, all spring. I'm sure we're kind of glad we're not always blocking him now, but we definitely do good on good, and it's a great work for Panay and Dak with that guy.
4.5 sack game like that? I mean, even high school?
No, I don't think I've ever exceeded 3. I think 3 was always been my max. I've never gotten past 3, so we're breaking barriers this year.
And that is Aiden Hutchinson and Hank Fraley, by the way, talking about Aiden Hutchinson's big day, Lions and Cardinals, coming up
Hank
on Sunday from the desert. But hey, more on that later. It is time now, a Thursday staple here on Woodward Sports. It is Top 10 Thursday, Braylon Edwards.
It's been a minute since we got the Top 10 Thursday cracking, man, so I felt the need to put a playlist together for you guys to enjoy and send it around the defensive ends. Put that back wall up. Aiden Hutchinson, you just saw the guy, 4.5 sacks. Big Hutch, man. University of Michigan, go blue. He had 4.5 sacks this past weekend. I want to say the record for the Lions is 5.
Yeah.
But it got me to thinking about defensive ends. We wanted him to step up. We wanted him to take that step, and I believe Sunday, he showed us what he was about. I got to think about some of the defensive ends that I played with over the years, or that I played against. So this is, as I give the list, it's not my favorite defensive ends of all time, because obviously Reggie White and some other guys will be on this list. But this is the best when I play. Got 10 guys on this list, and we're going to put them all on the first page. We'll talk about them a little bit at a time after whatever you guys let me know. Give your spill. Number 10, they're not in order, by the way.
Yeah.
Because if they were in order, I probably have Terrell number 1.
Terrell Suggs?
Yeah, Sizz. I probably had Sizz number 1 that I played.
Terrell doesn't Suggs at all.
Dad joke, but I love it. It's a great dad joke. Great football.
So wait, wouldn't number 10 be a D tackle technically?
So that's what I started with.
Okay.
He was just monstrous. Like, I've seen him on the ins and outs. I played against Ndamukong in his rookie year.
Yeah.
I never saw a presence like that at that time, but I never played against anything like that. So they put him on the outside. I think he had a sack and a half on the outside when we played against him. So I snuck him in there. More of just an amazing player, tremendous player. I know Mavs wish they would have kept him, but they went to being able to only pay 2, and he got the boot, and they chose to keep Matt Stafford and Megatron. Not a bad keep. But Ndamukong Suh, you guys know him. Hill, wish he would have been on this team. Right? Like he fits this team.
I swear.
Ndamukong could have been.
Talk about biting kneecaps.
Literally.
Right.
Don't step on him.
By the way, Aiden Hutchins is 4.5 sacks.
4.5.
He didn't win Defensive Player of the Week. It went to safety Jesse Bates of Atlanta.
What?
The Falcons. His numbers were 12 tackles, an interception, tackle for loss. He beat Aiden Hutchinson out.
Wow. There's only one reason why. They won.
Yeah.
And you're absolutely right. There's in no way, no arena that he wins. They won.
Wow.
And that interception that he had sealed the game.
Yeah, but wow.
I agree.
That's
Goes
all.
to show you.
I agree.
Winning matters.
It does.
Yeah.
It does. This guy won a lot. Number 9 on the list, Jason Taylor.
Great.
Had a chance to play with him when he came up to the New York Jets. Almost got to the big dance, but we did not make it. Great guy. Best story ever. He's a Jordan guy. He's a Jordan brand athlete. Great guy. This is when I met Joy Taylor for the first time. Comes to the locker room. He said, hey, this Christmas I got gifts for you. I already knew because Joy put me on game that he was going to give us all grade 11s. Myself, being the way I am, I was like, is there any way I can get 2 extra pair? I'm sorry. I know he was like, how the hell did you know? I said, well, Joy put me on game. I never spoke to Joy again. I'll tell you that. He shut that down. But anyway, Jason Taylor, tremendous player. You saw the knowledge he had when he was teaching those guys, the younger defensive ends, man. You saw why he was so effective when he was with the Miami Dolphins for all those years, man. And I used to crack jokes on him. Remember when 300 came out?
Yeah.
And it was like, what was Xerxes? He was like, I will give you many things. I used to call him Xerxes. He didn't like it much, but he was
He looked like him,
man.
too.
He looked just like Xerxes.
So funny.
I will
That's
give
a good
you many
call.
things. But no, for sure. Number 8. By the way, everybody on this list is either in the hall
Or going.
or going in the hall. So these are guys I played. This is the era I played in. And Ndamukong will be in the Hall of Fame. He's a tweener. Jason Taylor has a jacket already. Number 8, he just got his jacket last year. DeMarcus Ware. Shout out to the class of 2005. He was a part of that draft. Got drafted 12th to the Cowboys. Wreaked hell with the Cowboys. Led the league in sacks twice. But then you all know him for when he got to Denver and got the Super Bowl win in Super Bowl 50. he was a hell of a player, and Maz couldn't have been a nicer guy.
That's awesome to hear, man, because he is a good guy.
Great guy.
He sings, too,
Man
if I'm
of the
not
year,
mistaken.
NFL Man of the Year as well.
He's a singer as well, so congrats to him, man.
Hell of a player, man. One of those, I think everybody on this list is underrated. The exception of maybe Michael Strahan, Jason Taylor, and Sis. Everybody will be underrated because Dwight Freeney's teammate, Robert Mathis, man.
I never would have had him on here.
I wouldn't have had him on. That's the one guy. I'm surprised.
He's got more sacks than Dwight Freeney.
Really?
Yeah. That's something.
He's got more sacks than Dwight Freeney, and they play at the same time. Like, Mathis was everywhere. He was their smartest player. Like, we hated playing against the Colts because you can get away from Brackett. You can get away from their safeties, Bob Sanders, if you will. What's his name? Antoine Bethea was a good safety for them as well. But that doggone Robert Mathis blew up every play, and he knew it was going. Robert Mathis was a hell of a player. His spin, you're not getting off that spin. I've seen many of left tackle look embarrassing off that Robert Mathis spin move.
My eyes are trained at one player. Can you guess who it is on this list?
Oh, the eyes.
My eyes go directly to one player on this list as just a beast that I would not want to be hit
Harrison.
by.
James Harrison. That was one of my favorite players.
James Harrison.
Yes.
That's a guy I wouldn't want to be hit by.
Seriously.
Can you imagine, like,
He still
legitimately
works
looking
out
at
like that.
Can you imagine looking at the schedule as a wide receiver playing against these teams with these DNs dropping the covers, and you got to play James Harrison, and then the following week play Terrell Suggs, by the way, you got to play each of them one more time before the season's over. I used to hate playing in that freaking division. Yeah. Like being a big receiver, I was like, look, I'm a big receiver, but I'm still a receiver coach. But Robert Mathis, we can,
wouldn't want anything to do with that guy.
Well, they were tough, man. Michael Strahan, I just put him on out of respect. Like, you know what he did, you know the records he's broken. Michael Strahan, great guy, Super Bowl
Good morning,
champion.
America.
Played against. I've actually beat them. Like, I got a good record against Michael Strahan, which is
nice,
unbelievable. But you brought him up at 5.
That man,
James Harrison.
There he is.
Yep.
He's just as scary of a player. He played at Kent State with Josh Cribbs. Joshua Cribbs is our kick returner, punt returner.
Shout out Josh Cribbs.
You want to talk about a guy that made his name and made his hay. He's got over 10 kickoff punt returns with touchdowns.
Yeah.
I asked him, I said, is he always this mean? Like, is he just that guy? He said, James is a different character.
Yeah.
Like, this is just, he's a football guy.
Yep. Never forget that run back in the Super Bowl either. That was crazy by James Harrison.
Amazing.
Right?
The most underrated Super Bowl, I think, ever.
Oh, yeah.
We talk about it all the time. Cardinals versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. Number 4, Jared Allen. I know this town is very familiar with him for his years with the Minnesota Vikings. I hated the celebration, but he got results.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like every time you looked up, Jared Allen had a 2-sack game.
Yeah.
Sometimes 3-sack games. Like, he was just a consummate hard worker. It wasn't sexy. He wasn't super fast. He didn't have fluid motion. He just was going to get to that quarterback by any means necessary. I mean, he had a nasty style. He had a nasty number. He wore 69, didn't he?
Yeah. Never forget he ran Dan Orlovsky in the back of the end zone. That was Jared Allen.
Ran him down.
Given the Lions fits for years, but also Kansas City Chiefs. He just a hell of a player, man. We remember about Jared Allen.
I just remember him all over the backfield every single time. Like you said,
Iowa guy?
He averaged at least 2 sacks a game.
Weird college, not Iowa. It's maybe like Idaho or something.
Wow. I'm thinking of Jared DeVries.
Jared DeVries.
That's Jared DeVries.
That's a throwback right there.
Oh,
nice
man,
guy, though.
Number 3, tweener type player as well. Played more of a Lawrence Taylor type role, if you will, the outside linebacker, but he also rushed. And Clay Matthews. Like, the hardest 2 times I've ever been hit in my life. One was Ray Allen. One was Ray Lewis. And the other was Clay Matthews. I was playing for the Jets. We had a in-motion play where I went to the quarterback. It's called zig motion, Z return. I go to the quarterback, motion right off the hip of the right tackle. And then my job is to chip on Clay Matthews. I run in motion, and I never forget. We're playing on Monday Night Football. It was Jets, not Monday Night Football. It was the Jets, 2010. Run in motion. He said, "Here comes the crackback. Here comes the crackback." I'm a big wide out. I said, whatever. Matthews not that big. Let's go. I'm 6'3" at this time. I'm 218 or so. 6'4", cleats, whatever. I come out. I go to jump into his chest. He was already beelining for me. He blew me up. Pause. Like the rest of the game, I was like just out of
broken.
What? My diaphragm hurt.
Right.
I was pointing to the wrong thing.
How would you describe
sternum?
How would you describe to the layperson what it's like to get just blown up in the NFL.
When people say car wreck, I don't think people understand it. Because how can it feel like a car crash when it's not coming with that many tons of force? When it doesn't weigh that much, it's not coming that fast. It's a car wreck because you feel it everywhere. When you get hit like that on a play, when you turn into the hit, now my shoulder, now my arm, now my back shoulder for trying to brace myself on the hit. My helmet goes down, so now my head hurts. My neck goes into the play. My back because I'm now going backwards on the play. My hip because of how all of that hurts. So it feels like a car crash. When you wake up on Monday, you get out of that bed, everything just feels like, just take it. Just give me a whole new body.
It's amazing, man.
Just a whole new body.
Isn't that amazing?
Trainer, do you have another body? That's how you feel, man. And
you wonder why guys quit or not quit, retire when they do at a young age.
What time do they got to go in on Mondays after a Sunday game?
So if you get hurt, like if you need treatment, you have to report by 8 a.m. But that's on Mondays. Like during the week, 6:30 a.m.
Wow.
Like, that you have to report. But on game day after games, to give you a little extra time and rest with your family or chill at home. 8 a.m. you're in there. You got to get a workout in by 12. Media comes in at 12. Meetings at 1. You go over the film.
It's a long ass day.
And this is the easy day. Walk through probably around like 2:25, and you're able to go home by about 3.
Man.
And then
something?
Then you have Tuesdays off.
Yeah.
We talked about him at number 2. Look, I hated playing the Baltimore Ravens. It is what it is. Like it was Hall of Famer after Hall of Famer. And the problem with their team, KG, you got Ray Lewis Hall of Famer, Ed Reed Hall of Famer, Terrell Suggs Hall of Famer. But you had other guys that weren't Hall of Famers, but they were multiple Pro Bowlers. Like Chris McAllister was a 4-time Pro Bowler. Samari Rowe was a 4-time Pro Bowler. Like they had Adalius Thomas. I hated playing Adalius Thomas. He ended up going to the Patriots.
Watch that 30 for 30, Bullies of Baltimore. That'll tell you everything you need to know.
Yeah.
And it's funny because that was like a little before I got drafted, but that team pretty
much
still
bullies.
They got better. They got better. And then number 1 is not in this list. I think T. Sears would have been with Dwight Freeney. Another one of those undersized guys like Aaron Donald that you didn't think much of coming out of Syracuse. And lo and behold, he would go on to get a Hall of Fame gold jacket. So these are the guys I played against, man. And the names may be different, but the result was the same. They got to the quarterback, and they didn't make excuses.
It's incredible, man. It's a great list, Braylon. It's a great list, and
I love hearing the stories.
Some good fun,
I know.
man.
It's just, it's who gets the
nobody.
You know what I mean?
What time you got to get to the game? My wife was asking this on opening night. The Lions are playing at 8:00.
Okay.
Night game. What time you got? What's your day on an 8:00 night game?
Our day on an 8:00 night game, we say Monday Night Football.
Okay.
We'll get up. We'll have morning meetings. Go over the film a little bit. Coaches spills about 8:30.
Okay.
Have morning meetings. Go through those.
You get breakfast with the team?
You get breakfast before. Then you have morning meetings. Go through those, and then you get to do whatever you want for a little while. Then you have one more meeting at 1, and then you can guys go to the stadium and do what you want. I'm to the stadium probably 5 o'clock. On the 8:00 game, I'm there 4:30. And I get to the locker room, and you take your clothes off, sit in your,
Pause.
Pause, but you sit in your shorts and your T-shirt.
Good pause.
Look over your playbook, talk to the guys, listen to music. You start the process. You tape your wrist. You get stretched, and then you just start the process of getting ready mentally for the game. And then you go out, stretch, you warm up, you come back inside, you put your uniform on, you stretch, you warm up, and then you go outside for good the last time. So
incredible.
Well, about 3.5 hours is a good.
All right, and that's a 1 o'clock game. You're there at 9:30.
Yeah.
10 o'clock at the latest.
100%. You got to get in the cold tub first.
Sure.
Like I dunk in the cold tub for about 30 seconds, just to shock my body.
It's awesome, dude. I love that.
Go time.
It's great stuff.
What a game.
All right, guys, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll go around the NFL. We also have a Thursday night football game to talk about.
Oh, yeah.
So we've got
know the team
Maz,
playing.
you've got Braylon, you've got Pete Spivak going to give you a winner today.
Yeah.
But first, a message from us here at WSN. Hey, Detroit, on game day, wake up with Woodward in Maine, your source for all the insider information. Matt Broder, Terry Foster, 8 to 9, Woodward in Maine, brought to you by Tangerine Space Machine, Taller, your local long drink, Sabbath Coffee, Coffee, and Tullamore Dew Irish Whiskey. And then stick around for the New Holland Brewing Company Lions pregame show. It's the New Holland Brewing Company pregame show. Every game, Neil Rule, Sean Belegian bring you the best Lions pregame show, 10 a.m. to noon. It'll be right here at Woodward Sports this week, 10 a.m. to noon. Your number one sports network, Woodward Sports, brought to you by Tangerine Space Machine, Taller, your local long drink, Sabbath Coffee, and Tullamore Dew Irish Whiskey.
All right, Premier Pet Supply. Hands down, Michigan's best pet store, family owned and operated for over 30 years. 13 Metro Detroit locations and over 60 brands of food, all at the lowest prices available. Curbside delivery if you need it. And they got nutritionists on call anytime you have a question about your pet. Give your pet the best. Don't settle for less. It's PremierPetSupply.com.
It's bear hunting season, and Dan Campbell is hungry for some kneecaps.
If you can just get a hold of them and you start dragging their ass out to the deep, dark abyss, you can drown them.
The Kings of the North are back for another year of the brand new Lions. Make sure you're locked in to Detroit's #1 sports network for all the news and info on your Detroit Lions.
Woodward Sports, let's go.
Stop searching for a vehicle and start finding one. Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac makes it easy. We harness the power of multiple dealerships and own the biggest selection of GM brands in the area to get you the car you need. With the Les Stanford Group, you'll have access to 4 different dealerships, providing you with more makes, more models, and more choices. We're connected to more than 1,000 vehicles. And with so many high-quality CPO vehicles available, you'll find new car quality at pre-owned prices. You can start and end your search at lesstanford.com today.
A network for the city, by the city. Woodward Sports is Detroit sports.
Oh, let me just say, I love Planet Fitness.
Trying out Planet Fitness and dang, they got lots of equipment.
Not me getting a Planet Fitness membership just for the 24-hour perk.
Listen, the PF Black Card is worth every penny for this hydro massage. I'm a new man.
Did y'all know that the PF app has workouts you can do at home? Cheapest therapy I can find is Planet Fitness.
All the benefits, all for less. Planet Fitness, big fitness energy for all.
The most talked about Detroit media by other Detroit media, and we love it. It's the Woodward Sports Network.
Any Lady Jane's haircuts for men and claim your throne for a king's treatment from one of our talented stylists. Open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Just get to a Lady Jane's today and receive a precision haircut, scalp massage, hot lather neck shave, and a hot towel treatment. A haircut should not be a chore. It should be an experience. And that's exactly what Lady Jane's has to offer. Open 7 days a week. Walk-ins are always welcome. There's always a location near you. Lady Jane's haircuts for men, it's wicked awesome.
Is that an octopus in your pants, or are you just happy to see me? See what I did there? Go Red Wings! From Octopi Experts, Woodward Sports.
Tangerine Space Machine is the easy drinking IPA with out of this world flavor, smooth and juicy with a refreshing crushability. Take your taste buds to the moon with Tangerine Space Machine. Say that 3 times fast. Grab yourself a can of this intergalactic hazy goodness, the official beer of outer space, and brewed by New Holland Brewing Company.
Look, it's football season. It's time to get wings. Wings and football go hand in hand, and the best place right now to get wings are at Pierogi's. They're already home of the crispy chicken and pizza. We are also great appetizer for your football Sundays or football Saturdays, but now they got the signature time. Signature wings for a limited time. That's the teriyaki, the barbecue, the honey, spicy, and don't forget about that lemon pepper. They got a couple other flavors for you. You got to check them out. We had them in here in the studio, and just know that they slap. This is where you need to be, but if that's not your speed, they also have the salad and fresh sides. Look, we want to get everybody involved, but I'm telling you, a little secret, those wings, they about that life. And also, if that's not your speed, I know the honey biscuits will be your speed. And once you eat those honey biscuits at Pierogi's, now you got to get that gym membership. The place to do it is Planet Fitness, where your fitness is essential. With over 50 locations in metropolitan Detroit. Look, man, this is the spot for you. No judgment. The gyms are clean, and they have trainers for every membership when you sign up. So put it this way, it's fitness that fits into your budget.
Welcome back, Woodward Sports Network. How's everybody doing out there? Maz, you okay? Give us a little rundown of what's going on here.
All right, we're going to go to the 8th here in Cleveland. Twins, 2. Guardians, 2. Going to the 8th.
Okay.
Baltimore leading San Francisco as well, 3-2.
All right.
In that game.
Good stuff. All right, guys, we'll get to Thursday Night Football momentarily, but Tom Mazaway, the floor is yours. We'll go around the NFL, shall we?
Let's do it. Why don't we start with the NFL on Fox, since we talked to Chris Myers before. They have their power rankings out, and you would think the Lions came in last week at number 2. Did they drop a little this week? So we're going to show you. They did. They dropped to number 3. So there's your power rankings from Fox.
I am a little bit surprised by that. You, Bray?
No, I'm not. You know, going into the season, the Houston Texans were a team fresh in everybody's mind from what they did last year, and also the additions that they made in the offseason. Joe Milton looks to be working for them, and so does Stephon Diggs. And then you have Danielle Hunter on the opposite side. They start off 2-0. I don't see a reason why they shouldn't be number 2, because going into a second year for a quarterback, what is it always? Is it going to be a sophomore slump? Is this the quarterback I saw last year? And through 2 games, C.J. Stroud is still the guy that we saw last year. So Lions didn't look too good in their first 2 games. They moved them to 3. San Francisco lost 1 to the Vikings. They moved them to 4. Buffalo's 2-0, looked really good on defense the last couple games. And now they have a running game. And the Bucs beat the Lions. So, and the the Ravens 0-2. I think they nailed it.
I'm a little surprised that the Lions only dropped to 3.
Top 14 teams,
49ers
though.
lost.
Yeah.
Top 14 teams are pretty solid, even though Seattle 2-0, surprising, and the Browns.
More than Minnesota?
Well, yeah, Minnesota. Well, they're. Let's face it, they were the long shot of the NFC North. They're the only unbeaten in the NFC North. So we'll see how they go.
Interesting.
See what happens this week. So let's go from there to the 33rd teams.
Ooh.
Quarterback rankings.
Love power rankings.
Where do you think Jared Goff is on the 33rd team?
Without looking at it?
Right.
16. 14.
16.
I think you're both real close. I think
19.
Braylon might have hit it.
12.
15. We're right in the
15,
middle.
Right in the middle.
Right in the middle.
Right in the middle.
Hit the one in the middle, right?
I know,
Hit the one in the middle.
I know you love those power rankings.
Oh, love the power rankings,
Got to get them
man.
in for the people.
I mean, people love power rankings. I don't know what to tell you.
What do you think of the rankings?
Mahomes, Allen, people. Look, this is Josh Allen. The Buffalo Bills. Look out for the Buffalo Bills this year. That's it. This is a team that I was wrong about. Okay. I think Buffalo now with a run game. Look out for Buffalo. Buffalo with a run game. Look out for Buffalo.
I agree with the run game aspect of it. I think they did. And
look at this, Josh. Sorry. Look at this Trevor Lawrence guy.
Go ahead.
Can you get him out of here?
Please. How does he keep getting in this? Yeah. How does he keep getting up there?
In what world is anybody living in that they would choose Trevor Lawrence over Jared Goff? Sorry. Go back to your take on
even with 2
Josh
bad
Allen.
weeks.
Sorry,
no,
dude. Sorry.
No, you're good. No, you're absolutely good.
It's maddening to me.
It is. I still need to see more out of the Buffalo Bills. I think that game won the points. They're mostly on special teams and defense, so don't take that. You got to take it with a grain of salt. So I just never have been a full Josh Allen fan, but I think when you have an offense, and Joe Moore is the offensive coordinator, he's done a good job of taking the stress out of Josh Allen, and that's what Brian Daboll did. So he's having success, and we'll see.
All right, let's move on. This is something good for the fans if you're a fan of the Atlanta Falcons. Listen to what the Atlanta Falcon fans are in for on Sunday. Falcons owner Arthur Blank. Arthur Blank is going into the Ring of Honor for the Falcons. That's very nice. But they're giving the fans 2 free hot dogs, 2 free bags of chips, and an unlimited amount of soda in a beautiful souvenir cup.
Yeah.
Now, that's a pretty damn good deal.
About time.
Over 100,000 hot dogs have been ordered.
Yes.
How about that?
Wow.
Is that great? Or
About time they
it.
kick back to the fans, man.
If you guys don't understand why it's a hot dog and it's a bag of chips, it's because Arthur Blank owns Home Depot, and that's where you get the. I know you guys know it, but that's where you get the hot dog and the bag of chips.
I love it.
And by the way,
good hot
Saturday,
dog,
my dad
too.
would grab one back in the day before Saturday.
Those are
good hot
Blank,
dog.
before it was cool, Arthur Blank, when he built that stadium, the food is so cheap there.
Yes.
The beer is so cheap. The water
Yes.
is so cheap. Cheapest concession stand in professional sports.
I love you,
And
Arthur
third
Blank.
nicest stadium, which is crazy.
Yeah.
As a fan of the NFL, a fan of sports, thank you, Arthur Blank.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I wish other owners would take
I
that.
thought a lot of people would follow because you're making all your money from the ticket sales and the TV deals. Do you need to grab that money at the concession stand? Do you need a $5 bottle of water?
Right.
No, you don't. That's greed.
I went to Big Boy last week at Ford Field. Got the Big Boy and got a soda.
Hey, $20.
How much am I out of there?
23.
Yeah, 23.
Yeah, about that.
Plus the tip.
Now times 4.
I got a soda.
If you got a family.
Yeah,
you know?
Nice pop with a lemon.
I got a Coke, Pete. Was a Coke.
It's just good to see a good owner. I think, you look at a lot of teams that don't have success. Like, you can start at the top. You can start at their owner. Whether it was Detroit in the day, whether it was Cleveland now. That's not the reason why they haven't had success down there in Atlanta. Arthur Blank has done everything in his power to have the team have success, put the money into his team, and take care of the fan base at the same time. He's a rarity in this business.
Absolutely.
Packers are going to play at Tennessee this weekend. It's a twofold thing here. Jordan Love, who got hurt week 1 on that Friday night game, it looked like he was going to be out for the year.
Right.
And then they said it was just a sprain of the MCL. And they didn't put him on the IR, and they activated our friend Malik Willis. So now Jordan Love says, hey, I think I'm ready to play this week against Tennessee. But if he does not play, and I don't think he should play, if you're the Packers, you should probably let him rest one more week. Packers are a 2.5-point underdog in Tennessee. Here's Malik Willis. They asked him about going back to Tennessee.
No, I could care less, bro. I think I got paid the whole time I was there, bro. I'm more than blessed for the opportunity they've given me, and they brought me into this league, whether those guys are there or not. That organization, they took a shot on me, Miss Amy, and they did a great job by me, all I'm concerned.
This is a classy kid. This is one of the things I loved about him. Remember on draft night, he was out there giving his clothes to some of the homeless on the street. And that's kind of some of the things that you and me, Rye,
we loved
kind of
about
fell
him.
for.
Wanted him here because of it.
And you know what? They traded for him for a reason. Sure, he's a game manager. That's what he's been. He hasn't showed anything but that right now. But if Matt LaFleur takes you and gets you under his wing and can teach you a few things, if they had enough confidence in him and they won, I don't know if it was in spite of him, but he threw a touchdown, he ran, he did as much as he could. Matter of fact, the center at one point threw up on the football.
Yeah, that was crazy.
He snapped it to
on
Malik.
3rd down.
Now,
Right.
Malik is supposed to pitch it out.
He didn't
and they're
throw
like,
it.
why didn't you pitch it? He ran with it. He's like, well, there was puke on the ball. I didn't want it to slip. So I just love the kid. The kid's a classy guy.
Yeah, if you understand both sides of the situation, Malik Williams, he's a guy that he's just taking the high road. He said, look, man, they gave me an opportunity. And I think that's a lot of times, sometimes what we forget to do in this space, especially in the moment. He was very gracious of the opportunity. And he's looking at it, this is like he wants to win against Tennessee. He wants this opportunity. This is a dream come true because it doesn't matter they took a chance on him. They still traded him away. So this is a chance for him to beat that team. Also for Jordan Love, you know how he's looking at it? I know he got paid in the offseason. He got his money in the offseason. Does not matter because what happens? Matt LaFleur what happens if they get hot? What happens if Malik Willis goes out there? Because he's probably not going to play this game. Malik Willis goes out there. They put on the show. He has 2 touchdowns passing, maybe a passing touchdown, a running touchdown. And now they're in a groove. Do you really rush Jordan Love in the knee back? Or do you keep the energy going with what you got in Malik Willis? And that's what Jordan Love doesn't want to happen.
Show of hands. There's one of 2 things that is going to happen. Here are the 2 scenarios, okay?
All right.
Malik Willis, coached up by Matt LaFleur, and is going to continue to get better and be a really good backup quarterback, guy that you can win with, guy you can win this week with. Or now that you got videotape on him 1 week in Green Bay, look out, he's going to get killed.
He didn't do a lot.
I know.
So you got tape on him. What do you got tape on?
Well, you got tape on what they want to do. You stack the box.
Exactly.
Now just stack the box.
And
Make
you know
them
what?
beat you.
They told him,
That's
hey,
your tape.
They told him, don't be dumb. Don't throw if you don't need to.
Don't F this up.
You're a game manager. Hand the ball to Josh Jacobs, who got 150 yards rushing last week. Green Bay is a smart team, right? I doubt that Jordan Love plays this week.
I doubt that he plays this week, and I think Malik Willis, you'll see him have a better game this week, and they will win. I think they might win big.
You think so?
I think they might win big.
Interesting.
Now, Jim Harbaugh, as you know, is a soundbite. He's even getting better now in the NFL with sound bites. They've got at least 3 or 4 sound bites a week on Twitter for this guy. I'm just going to take you this one. It's the Chargers against the Steelers this week. The Steelers are 2-0. They haven't scored a touchdown. I don't know what the hell they are doing out there. And then someone asked Mike Tomlin, what do you do? How do you do this? He's like, look, if I give you the ingredients of the hot dog, you might not like the hot dog anymore. So, he don't know how he's doing it. But here's Jim Harbaugh speaking about the Chargers going into Pittsburgh.
Well, playing against them as a player, there's an aura there. That's and just everybody I've ever met from Pittsburgh. There's nobody on this planet I have more respect for than Ben Herbert, and he's from Pittsburgh. So, I know the kind of football people that come out of the Burgh. It's real. It's genuine. It's unique. Just nothing but respect for it.
It's unique. Nothing but respect for it. Who's better than him?
Nobody. Nobody's got it better than him.
Nobody.
Nobody's got it better than him. You know what? Remember we were talking about Tua and he's going to retire, what he's going to do? Well, they put him on the IR. Then we're like, what quarterbacks can they go get? They outsmarted us. Right? I forgot about Tyler Huntley. The Dolphins signed Tyler Huntley. This is a guy who won a playoff game against the Bengals.
So good.
All right? He is now going to start for the Dolphins, at least for now. Or Skylar Thompson is going to be there with him as well. Skylar Thompson is going to get the start this week, but Tyler Huntley is ready to go. Here's Skylar Thompson, and he gets pretty emotional about getting another start. He played in the playoffs last year, remember?
Yeah, I got to share with my dad again. It was really, really special, and got to share with my fiance as well. It was really cool for her to share that with her as well. But yeah, I got my family's excited for me. It's a great opportunity, and it's you guys know about my journey. It's really cool for me to share those things with my family members as I've continued through the journey. So I'm very, very thankful for that and for them.
Good for him.
Yep.
Good for him. We'll see what kind of opportunity he gets.
It's hard to make it in the NFL. To get a couple starts in the
absolutely.
NFL. Pretty cool.
He didn't look all that bad when they played in the playoff game.
No.
They played in the playoff game. And he actually was in the game.
He kept them in that Buffalo game.
Well, we'll see, man. When you get your opportunity, you got to be ready.
All right, there's a Thursday night football game tonight. We'll get to that coming up next. But first, a message from
Postgame. Whatever it is, there it is.
Postgame.
Post-game show.
Alrighty, the post-game show. It's the New Holland Brewing Company post-game show. Join Stick and Anson live from Hayes Social in Shelby. Look, as soon as the game's over, you can get their comments, their immediate reaction to what's going on. That place is fire. It's at Hayes Social, man. It's the post-game show. It's New Holland Brewing. It's the #1 sports network in Michigan. It's Woodward Sports, man. It is Anson. It is Stick. Your local laundry drink, 1800 Tequila and Sabbath Coffee are the sponsors. Look, it's a good time, man. It's a good time to learn about the Detroit Lions. And they're going to get the win against the Cardinals, so we're all about it on the post-game show.
Hey, and while you're watching the post-game show, you should be doing it in Woodward Sports merch, man. Go to woodwardsports.com, click that shop tab, and just unlock a plethora of Woodward Sports and Detroit sports gear, man. We got everything you need. We're even going to add a troll section to the merchandise shop soon, so make sure y'all keep an eye out for that. But hoodies, tees, hats, everything guaranteed to turn heads only at woodwardsports.com and click that shop tab.
Can't get enough Lions coverage? Make sure you catch all Woodward sports shows every game day. Wake up with Woodward and Maine, giving you the latest insight into the Lions locker room and press conferences. Then join the Lions pregame show, highlighting key matchups, injuries, and what to watch for during the game. Follow all the ups and downs of the live game action with our Woodward Watch Party live on YouTube and woodwardsports.com. After the game, check out the instant fan and host reactions with the Lions postgame show. Every game, it's wall-to-wall, kneecap-biting, high-fiving, chest-pumping Lions coverage.
Hell yeah!
Only at Detroit's #1 sports network, Woodward Sports.
Woodward Sports, let's go.
A network for the city, by the city. Woodward Sports is Detroit sports.
Yo, let me just say, I love Planet Fitness.
Trying out Planet Fitness and dang, they got lots of equipment.
Not me getting a Planet Fitness membership just for the 24-hour perk.
Listen, the PF Black Card is worth every penny for this hydro massage. I'm a new man.
Did y'all know that the PF app has workouts you can do at home? Cheapest therapy I can find is Planet Fitness.
All the benefits, all for less. Planet Fitness, big fitness energy for all.
The most talked about Detroit media by other Detroit media, and we love it. It's the Woodward Sports Network.
To any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men and claim your throne for a king's treatment from one of our talented stylists. Open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Just get to a Lady Jane's today and receive a precision haircut, scalp massage, hot lather neck shave, and a hot towel treatment. A haircut should not be a chore. It should be an experience. And that's exactly what Lady Jane's has to offer. Open 7 days a week. Walk-ins are always welcome. There's always a location near you. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, it's wicked awesome.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on Shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
Come on now. I know y'all want to play golf with Darren McCarty, maybe Kirk Gibson, maybe Calvin, or the best Michigan receiver ever, Braylon Edwards. It's the Randy Wise Celebrity Golf Tour. Register today and you can play like a VIP, but only if you go to woodwardsports.com and click or scan that QR code above my head. And when it comes to your next car or truck, make the wise decision. It is Randy Wise Automotive, Maz.
All right, fellas. Have you ever thought about volunteering, but you didn't know when to start and where? Well, how about the Salvation Army's Red Kettle campaign? Visit registertoring.com, sign up for shifts right now. You'll have an option to choose a 2-hour session at a physical Red Kettle site, you know, the ones that are outside all the storefronts. Or you can do a virtual bell ringing shift to raise funds from the comforts of your own home. Virtual bell ringers could sign up and begin raising funds at any time. Traditional bell ringing begins Friday, November the 7th, and it runs through Christmas Eve, except on Thanksgiving and on Sundays. To sign up or volunteer shifts, visit registerthering.com. That's registertoring.com, the Salvation Army.
Join the best youth football league in Metro Detroit, the Boys and Girls Club of Southeastern Michigan's 3C Sports League. Put the youth back into youth sports. Detroit, Belleville, Highland Park, and East Point are the cities. Register for football or cheer, bgcsm.org. Equipment, meals, and transportation are included for a chance to play a forward field, all $175. Come on, parents, you know it's not that hard. Also, all coaches have background checks done on them, so your kids are in good hands. Remember, this is the best league in Detroit right now, Metro Detroit. And then, if you want to win some money, what if I told you...
Oh, and I've got a winner for you tonight, by the way.
You got a winner for me?
I've got a winner for you tonight. It's a lock.
It's a lock. You talked me into this one.
No,
Okay, Ryan.
Listen up. Listen to this read by Braylon, and then I'm going to do you a favor. I have a lock for you tonight.
Well, he has the lock, and this is the deal. If you bet up to $1,000, guess what? If your bet doesn't hit, which Ryan says it will, you get your money back. No, I didn't stutter. That's exactly what happens with Caesars Sportsbook. Use the promo code Woodward1000. Remember, Woodward has to be in all caps. Woodward1000. You use that code, you make that bet up to $1,000. If your bet doesn't hit, you get your money back. Who else can say they're doing that? Caesars Sportsbook is where it's at. Scan that QR code. That's the bet. Nothing more to say. Ryan and Monty, take it from there.
All right, you've got nothing to lose by doing this right now. Pete, put that QR code back up for 1 second from Caesars.
Let me put you in the box.
This is what I want everybody to do right now. If you are so inclined, hit that QR code because you get if you haven't signed up from Caesars yet, this is a risk-free bet.
Risk-free.
If you lose it, you get it back. Okay? First bet only. First bet only. Okay, thank you now, Pete. Yep. I'm going to do everybody a favor here. You ready?
Go ahead.
I'm going to give you a lock. Okay?
Jets home opener, by the way.
This is the Jets home opener. We remember what happened on the Jets home opener last year. You were there last year. That's right. So the Jets are playing the New England Patriots. The Jets are a 6-point favorite tonight. And you probably are sitting there saying to yourselves that the Jets shouldn't be a 6-point favorite against anybody in the NFL right now. Hell, the Jets might not even be able to score 6 points all night. Ladies and gentlemen, the New York Jets at -6 are an absolute lock tonight.
Oh, God.
I would agree.
An absolute lock. And I'll tell you why. We've got the numbers to back it up, okay? The last 26 times a game like tonight was played, the favorite won 23 of them. The New England Patriots played an overtime game on Sunday
against Seattle.
teams that play an overtime game on Sunday that travel to play a Thursday game are 3-23 against the spread since Thursday Night Football began and became a thing. 3-23.
There you go.
There aren't too many times where you have that wide of a spread in anything. This should be a 3-point game, no problems. Vegas is begging you to take the Patriots and the points tonight. Begging you to take the Pats and the points tonight. Jets all day, lock. And by the way, if it's not a lock, you get your money back on Caesars.
I thought you
First
say
bet only. First
Ryan was
bet
gonna pay
only.
him.
You know what else is a lock? They want you to take the over in the worst way. It's 38.5. Take the under. It's going to be as ugly a game as you ever want to see. Jets home opener. Their offense has not clicked yet. Defense is playing okay. They're out. They do not have Jermaine Johnson. They're terrific defensive end. He's out for the year with a torn Achilles, which is a horrible thing to happen to the Jets and that defense. But 38.5, that's as low a number as I could remember in a long time. I know there have been lower ones last year, but already this year, 38.5, and you said it earlier, touchdowns are down. If you're not the Saints, touchdowns are down across the board. And these two offenses, really, they'll set the NFL back a couple of years tonight.
Braylon, how long does it take this offense to get going? Because, look, the NFL they absolutely need the New York Jets to be good this year. This is the second game of 6 that they will play on national television. You need that New York market. Well, you don't need the New York market, but it would be nice if you're a 3-time MVP award winner and a team in New York is good. They're ready and waiting for the Jets to start clicking here.
They are, and outside of them not having the same amount of chemistry years as the Detroit Lions, they're very similar to the Detroit Lions in week 2 in the sense of they got a lot of weapons. Aaron Rodgers, they got an offensive line that's kind of new. They're trying to find some continuity amongst themselves, and then the weapons are trying to get going. You got the young guy that Anson Wells loves and Braylon Allen, scored 3 touchdowns, youngest player to ever score. They got a new weapon in him. Now they want to find a way to get him going. You got Breece Hall, one of the best running backs in this game, young guy. Want to get him going. They've gotten him going. He's scored in each game this year. You got tight ends like Travis Conklin on your team. Garrett Wilson is the elite level type of wide receiver that they want to get going. And Mike Williams, they got to find a way to even get him on the field. So I think they're still trying to ease into what they want to do offensively. But it starts with number 12, who's now wearing number 8. Aaron Rodgers, he's got to get going. Still some timidness there. And rightfully so. He's a 40-year-old quarterback. He's coming back off an Achilles surgery. He's coming back off of it not ending so well in Green Bay. Now is the time to start to step out of the shell a little bit. I think you saw a little bit of that last week. Look for Aaron Rodgers to find himself often and early on in this game and pick his spots.
Back-to-back Achilles guys, right? How about Monday night with Kirk Cousins,
yeah.
And now you give it back to Aaron Rodgers. So I hope Aaron Rodgers has as much success as Kirk did.
And look what Kirk did. Look how Kirk kind of in the second half of that game
looked terrific to me.
Started to find himself 100%. And then in the last, when they needed him most, it clicked on like it did when he was with the Minnesota Vikings. When we've seen him with the Washington now Commanders, used to be the Redskins, had that success, started to feel good about it. So I think that's what you're going to see out of Aaron. Start to feel good, he'll take command.
Well, hell, Aaron Rodgers hasn't thrown for 180 yards yet this year.
Yeah,
Forget about
crazy.
300 or 200.
Right.
Aaron Rodgers hasn't had a game. I know there's only 2 games, but how many times in his career has Aaron Rodgers thrown for less than 200 yards? Hasn't even reached 180 yards yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're still trying to figure out the offensive line. Look, man, the offense put that defense in some bad spots. Defense put the offense in some bad spots. I think they're starting to settle in because on defense as well, they're missing Jermaine Johnson. But even with Jermaine Johnson, they still are giving up some plays here or there. I think the Jets will settle in. But to your point, 180 yards. He hasn't cracked that. That's not what we know of Aaron. Look for it to be that type of day. Garrett Wilson's going to have a big game, and I promise you that.
Yeah, we ever figure out what Sauce Gardner's reason for leaving that game was the other night?
No, he took a timeout on his own in week 1. We do not know. Robert Saleh is the head coach. We did say if he don't start winning, he's not going to be there very long. But they won last week, so it kind of quelled what happened with Sauce on week 1.
So there you have it.
You can't win like that. Like when you got players taking timeouts and you don't know what's going on, and a coach is already very unsure of himself, very unsure of what's going on there in New York. It doesn't bode well. This is too early for something like this happens, but it stems from off season. He made a comment about Aaron Rodgers. He took flack for that. Hassan Reddick situation that's still going on. You mean to tell me they couldn't use Hassan Reddick? You knew what it was when you picked him up. You picked him up. You don't want to pay him. That team right now, especially with Jermaine Johnson now, he is the calling card. Sometimes, look, you get held the gun to your head. Sometimes you don't. This is a situation where you don't want Hassan Reddick to pull the trigger. You guys got to go.
Hey, in the minutes remaining, sorry, do you have one more thing, Maz? Go ahead.
I was going to say something about Aaron Rodgers, and Netflix is coming out with a thing on him, an expose on him. Did you guys even take a look at that yet?
I did. I saw the trailer.
Aaron Rodgers Enigma. I mean, we could show it to everybody. Pete, do we still have it in the system?
Yeah. Yep.
Aaron Rodgers Enigma. While we're talking about Aaron Rodgers, it's going to be coming out in December on Netflix. Check it out. Aaron Rodgers Enigma coming out December 19th.
Boo. Looks pretty
on
good.
Netflix.
I'll watch that.
You see those numbers that he's telling you the odds on. He's really something.
He's
man.
that fat kid from
he's something.
Moneyball.
There you go. Jonah Hill.
Hey, speaking of baseball, real quick, I do want to get you a couple of updates before we leave you here. The Twins and almost said Indians. Twins and Guardians tied at 2 in the bottom of the 9th, and the Orioles and Giants tied at 3 in the bottom of the 9th.
Who's at bat?
The Tribe is up right now, 1 out.
Cleveland's up. Cleveland's a home team, so they're up.
And Orioles and Giants.
Orioles are at home. Oh, Orioles just won it. 2-run homer to walk it off. So the Orioles win 5-3 against the Giants, so they'll stay up. The reason you look at the Orioles now is because the Tigers play 3 against Baltimore, a sweep against Baltimore, and
they would have been 1 out.
Absolutely. So that would
be 5 out of Baltimore.
That would just be another opportunity for the Tigers to get in. But Baltimore wins in the bottom of the 9th on a 2-run homer just seconds ago. Cleveland and Minnesota tied at 2 in the bottom of the 9th. A 1 out in that game. And if Cleveland wins, if Minnesota loses, Detroit and Minnesota will be tied with 9 games to play. Of course, Minnesota wins the tiebreaker. So even though they would be tied, it would essentially be a Twins 1-game lead over Detroit.
Right.
With this new playoff format, there is no more Game 163.
What's so sad?
This year it would be.
Kansas City also has a 2-game lead on the Tigers. So simple. They each have 9 games left. If you beat Kansas City by 1 game or the Twins by 1 game, you make the playoffs. You're not going to host a playoff game unless you pass the Orioles, which is now a pipe dream.
I didn't want the Orioles to win, obviously, same division as the Tigers, but a good friend here, Brady Wood, what was
Shout out.
parlay. So let's go, my guy.
There you go. Hey, far be it from me, Pete, I'm so sorry I hijacked that Caesars segment. We got to get to your same game parlay.
You was talking about him yesterday.
Oh my gosh, Pete, I'm so sorry.
Sorry, man.
Pete had to get some help.
Please, you have the floor,
It's all right.
Pete.
It's all right,
Caesar's
guys.
back up there.
Oh my
and take care
gosh,
of
I
it.
did put
Pete,
together
how
a
could I
parlay
forget?
for the Thursday night football. We're 1-2 so far in the year. So we're going to...
Pete, I was so happy about my stat 3 and
Don't
23.
worry.
I got so
That's
hyper.
important stuff.
Power
It's
stat.
important stuff.
God.
Us bettors need to know those kind of stats, right? It's
Power
important
stat.
stuff. But anyway, since we're kind of on a 2-game losing streak here, guys, I kind of slowed down the pace here because I do want to win for everybody out there at home. So we got a 3-leg parlay at plus 255 tonight. We have manipulated Garrett Wilson to have 50 yards under the alternate receiving yards. So that's like the minimum you can have Garrett Wilson at, over 50 yards receiving. I also have Breece Hall, alternate yards catching. Breece Hall catching 30 yards receiving tonight. He's been good over 30 yards all season long. I know it's only 2 games, but I think tonight Breece Hall will definitely be needed out of the backfield for some of those short passes. And then I got Garrett Wilson getting into the end zone as well. And a couple of these things that I've chosen are because I may know somebody or may not know somebody who is associated with the Jets. So,
Just a little bit.
you know. A little hometown fun here with this bet, but this bet should come in at plus 255. My $35 bet will pay you $124.25.
There you go.
We're going to the 10th in Cleveland, by the way. Twins and Tribe tied
BS.
at 2.
BS, Ryan.
Start off
Oh,
with the day of
man.
so much promise.
Braylon, I hear you're playing a little softball tonight.
Yeah, you know, softball is one of my favorite things to do, although I never do it, man. It's a good sport, leisurely activity. It's chill. Stick, Sam Day, Woodward Sports, set it up, threw it out there. I played a couple years ago, and we won a game. So, hey, man, you know, I'm looking to go deep, as they say.
I'm sure you'll knock one out of the park.
I
You better with your family
there.
there.
Got the fam coming. Said Drake Park. You know, pull up, man. Game's free.
Don't show off now.
No, I'm not gonna do too
All
much.
right.
I'm not gonna do too
Thank
much.
you.
I'm 41. I
We
gotta
need you.
stretch and relax.
How many guys in the NFL do you think could play multiple professional sports?
Like
half?
Yeah.
Half?
Yeah.
Like what other sport?
Baseball.
You
track,
could play baseball.
Basketball.
Do you think 1 out of every 2 NFL players could play baseball? I don't think so.
No, I'm not going to say that. I would say there's a lot of athletes in sports now. Even linemen, like if Penei Sewell wasn't playing football and didn't have to weigh what he weighs, he probably still would. He could play another sport if he wanted to. I would say 35%.
The reason I say that is because Scotty Scheffler apparently is a pretty good pickleball player and could go pro playing pickleball. Who knew that golfers could be 2 sports stars?
They have pro pickleball?
They do. Oh, God, huge. You kidding me? Tom Brady owns a team.
Oh, I'm sure he does.
He owns everything.
By the way, the Red Wings signed Mo Sider.
Yeah.
7 years, about almost $9 million a year. Of course, they signed Lucas Raymond earlier in the week, so they're spending money like who?
Thank God
like
for
the
that.
Lions, right?
100%.
They're signing their own guys.
Thank God for that.
Hey, they're in Traverse City today.
Yeah, they are.
started.
Absolutely.
Yep. They
I
started.
noticed that. All right, Bray, get us out of here, my friend.
25 years ago, Tom Tupa, the
Tom
punter,
Tupa.
Great
punter for the New York Jets. He's Ohio State guy, but we'll forgive that for this segment. Well, quarterbacks got hurt there. He had to come in as a punter. Don't you know he came in with 5 of 9, 152 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Keyshawn Johnson had a big day. I say that to say this: they still lost. Because the quarterback, the coach at the time, Bill Parcells, he put the backup quarterback into the game after Tom Tupa did all that. Needless to say, that's not going to happen tonight.
Sorry,
Go
Tuna.
Jets, can't wait. It's been a fun show, man, from my man Ryan Ermanni, Tom Mazaway, KG on the 1s and 2s, and Pete to my right. We are Ermanni and Edwards with Maz. We appreciate you for tuning in, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Can't wait.